Hey guys, welcome to 2016 and beyond. Um, I'm Jake Robinson. This is Amazon Hangout Live, and I've been on a bit of a hiatus since our last interview with Michael Quinn. That was back in just before Thanksgiving, I believe. So, anyway, I had about a month and a half off there, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and lots of other stuff. So, we're back. Only problem is my guest is having problems logging in. He logged in and uh, he could see me, but he couldn't hear me. Uh, okay, he's giving me a Skype message. Uh, see if I can get with him. See if I can give him an emergency link that I can get him in with. So bear with me, guys. I'm trying to get this thing over the hump. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm giving him that might work. Okay, so while we're waiting on Jim Thornton, let's see. I'll say hello. Tell me where you guys are from. It has been raining cats and dogs in Southern California for 4 days, with more to come. I guess you guys have been under a drought since before then. Patty, Alan, which is Jake's Facebook group? I've got one called Weekly Webinars with Successful Sellers, Amazon Hangout Live. That's mine. I've got another one that's Alibaba to Amazon. Um, that's that's one of mine as well. Let's see here. Where is Brody? Who's Brody? I don't know who that is, Gur. You always have weird stuff to say. Eric, let's see. You guys are coming in fast, hot and fast here. Deanna, howdy. How are you doing? Uh, hey, Faisal. Good to hear from you. Alfonso, hey, brother. Kentucky from Sean. Courtney. It's pouring in Los Angeles. So probably filling up the reservoirs. Jeff, hello from Vegas. Steve in Florida. Tom in New York. Ricardo in Columbia. Clarinda from Texas. Hey, Keith in Nebraska. Um, Patty's under flash floods and thunder. Alfonso's in Lone Star State. Don is from Tampa. Norma from Texas. There's two Texans there. Mary from Buffalo, another New Yorker. Courtney, I'm from California, Orange County. Erica from Dallas, Texas. Eric D from Long Beach. Is it raining there, Eric? Devin from Arizona. Sunil from San Francisco. Jason from Philadelphia. It's always morning. Is that what it is in Philadelphia? Courtney is near Eric, so you guys can hook up. Well, like have a cup of coffee. That's what I meant to say. Jackie, it's cold here in New Jersey. Ken from Troy, Michigan. You guys are just coming in too fast. I can't keep up with you. Nancy from Arkansas. Courtney from Los Alamitos. Catherine from Sydney, Australia. Well, Catherine, we've got an Aussie. If he can get logged in, he's still having troubles. Okay, are you in, Julian? All right, Julian, you may be in the room, but you're not in as a guest. Let me see if I can do it another way. Julian, if you'll post something in the chat room for me. Okay. Oh. Hello from Cleveland, Michael. Peter from Canada. Uh, you have a Southern translator, Nick? Why do you need one of those for, man? I don't have an accent. You guys do. Good day from Andrew in Melbourne. Andrew, I wonder if you know my guest, Jim Thornton. Jerry from Texas, Eric D. We are close. Canada, never heard of that. Takes weeks to cure. Okay. Jenny from Minneapolis. Delia from Wisconsin. Donna from Connecticut. Ed from Wisconsin. Always sunny in Philadelphia. Yep. Ever notice Jake is always late? I'm not late. I had it 8 o'clock on the button, brother. Joel from Australia, starting FBA. Okay, good deal. Hello from Wisconsin from Ed. Uh, no, I'm not cleaning my garage, dude. It's dirty. Julian. Okay, Julian, here's what I'm going to do, brother. I just sent you an invite, I think. Uh, if you'll click on that, maybe it'll bring you into the room, and we're going to do it the back door method. Frederick from Maryland. Can't you click the request to speak button? Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, Jeremiah, but I had to have him at least post something in there so I could find him. Okay, JP from Australia starting up. Now I'm back to the black intro window. Dude, are you in Chrome, Julian? What is it with these multi-million-dollar sellers that can't figure out how to run their computer? Okay, I cannot hear you, Julian. Bonjour from Montreal. Okay. We'll have him clear as cash. Rich from Connecticut. Isaac from the Gold Coast. Cool. Yeah, Julian, I do see you typing in the chat room, but that ain't good enough, dude. We got to get you in this room with me. Okay. You've cleared your cash. Wow, I don't know what else to say, man. Are you still in the room? I don't know why you got in the first time. Do you have a different computer you can log in with, Julian? Okay. Al from Atlanta. Hi, John. How you doing, brother? Jake's not here. Wife made him walk the dog. Why are you guys saying I'm not here? Nick, what are you stuck to? Hello from Nashville. Hey, Kristen, check us out. Nashville, Tennessee. How about that? Okay, Julian, maybe that'll work. And make sure it does have a mic. Does it have a mic? Okay. Yes, Kristen, I am in the borough. Where are you? Are you in Las Vegas? There's usually a different link for presenters on most web. Yeah, I know. Problem is he logged in with the link, and when he logged in before we started, I was talking. He couldn't hear me. I could hear him and see him, but he couldn't hear me. So it can't be me. I mean, you guys are hearing me, right? John from Toronto. Hello. So he's going to try to log in on his. What do you mean? There we go. Did you have a problem, Nick, hearing me or seeing me, or what the deal? What is the deal? Maybe he's got the same problem. Patty says we can hear me. He's going to log in on his parents' computer. It's probably a 286 from 1994. We'll hope we'll have some guys hang in here with me. I apologize that we're getting started slow with but he is on the other side of the world. It is kind of cool that you can talk to somebody on the other side of the world. Thank you, Ed. We got Robert from Beverly Hills. Okay, so Nick, so were you seeing me, or you weren't in the room? Steve's first computer was a 386. Okay, mine was a Radio Shack. One of those. What was it called? Started with a T. big one built-in keyboard, whole 9 yards. They're probably worth a fortune today. Super duper Philly rupee. Okay. Yeah, Isaac, I did tell him to make sure he tried Chrome. Okay. Uh, is it not working? Um, Here, let me do this. Julian, I'm going to delete your email. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. Did you make sure you logged into Google with your ecom Gmail account? Okay, I'm all right. You're gonna have to give me just a few minutes to get this, see if I can fix this. Okay. Guys, I'm sorry about this. I'm trying to communicate with him through Skype. Okay. All right. I'm going to try something on the fly here. Let me edit this webinar. Okay. And I'm going to delete this guy. And I'm going okay. All right. Okay. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourself. Start a conversation. Somebody put a question up, and then you guys can ask each other some questions. And while I'm working on this, I think I'm going to get this fixed. Okay. All right. If we can't get them in, I'm going to go to plan B, which is I can always pull this thing off. We'll just have our own little Q&A session. I'll bring you guys in the group. Hey, Zach, good to see you, brother. Why don't we do an Ask Jake while you're doing great? Okay. We might do that. I'm going to give him one more try. What I did was oh, hold on. I got to tell him one thing. I'm going to give him one more try here. Calm under pressure, Jake. You're doing great. Thanks, man. I'm pretty used to giving presentations because in my offline business and financial services, I recruited people and trained people, and we did training twice a week, every Tuesday night, every Saturday morning, 2 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours on Saturday. So I was in front of people for 5 hours a week, giving training in front of a group of people, and then also giving presentations in front of strangers to take a look at our business. So I did that for, I don't know, 7 years. So somebody run the math on that. I don't have a problem. And we had a lot of projectors that broke, overhead projectors that would go out, or our PowerPoint would shut down. And hey, man, we just wing it because I knew the material well enough that, okay, who's using a fulfillment center? Nick Walsh wants to ask. Troy, I just got on. What's happening? We're trying to get some guy that's halfway around the world in Australia to get logged in here. He's having a problem getting logged in. Courtney wants to know, is anyone trying to get to the Canton Fair this fall? Any Oz sellers want to make a mastermind group? Good idea, Isaac. Courtney's planning on going. Would love to go with the group. There's bound to be a bunch of people going. Hey, Tony. Everyone ever heard of Prosper Show in Salt Lake? Anyone attending? I haven't heard of that. Interesting. Anyone here from the Mid-South? If you count Nashville, Tennessee, actually Murfreesboro, I'm here from the Mid-South, Jeff. And I think somebody else is on here with us. I've worked in training for financial service and then been in training for 30 years, so we're kindred spirits. Faisal, I might put that up there because nobody would believe it. Faisal says, yep, Jake, you are a pretty good interviewer. I'll take that any day of the week. That's too much work, Jake. No, Nick, at hone my skills in sales and marketing and leadership, and has led to many, many good things. Let's see. Where's a good place to get liability insurance on FBA? That's a good question. Nobody knows the answer to that. Robert Robert Escolian. I go to the Canton Fair every year. How many years is that? Hey, Jeff, you're from Memphis. Yep, we are neighbors. Jeremiah, southeast, right outside of New Orleans. I'd be interested to know, Robert, how many years you've been going to the Canton Fair. Your maiden name was Robinson. We could be related, Patty. Anyone going to ASD Market Week in Las Vegas? Not sure about that. Okay, I'm waiting on him. That's the thing. I can't really do much about that, Paul. I've given him a link, and I'm waiting for him to try to get in on it. So, guys, we may just have to go to Plan B and do a Q&A, and then have Jillian back on next week. How about that? Okay. If he pops in, we'll go from there. But let's go ahead and maybe get back to business here. Okay. Here's an article about speaker today. Rich dad, poor dad. Okay, interesting. All right. Anybody have a specific question while we're waiting on Julian? And if Julian can get in, I don't know if he's going to get in or not. I need to check my email to see what we got going on, if he's talked back here. Let me try to put that link in there. All right. Who's brave enough that I can bring you into the room and give you a mini interview? Who's been selling on Amazon for a while and has a little bit of experience and like to share some of their information? Give us an update on your product, Jake. Okay, I've got one product finally after a year of interviewing people and trying to sell a house and buying a new house and moving my dad up here, and really I just put getting a product on Amazon on the back burner. A friend of mine who you guys may know, you may have seen the interview, James Amazio. He had several products, and this one was a product that was kind of a pain in the butt because he was having it shipped from China. It was it would come in a box, and each box had maybe 15 pieces in it, and it had parts. And then he had to buy some separate boxes because it was like all in a box, just piled in there. So he had to take it out of that box and individually package the product in another box, and he had to print label and put on that box, and he had to print the instructions to put in there, and it has moving parts, and it has, well, I'm gonna say moving parts, it has mounting brackets and mounting hardware. Oh my God, is that you? Did you make it in there? How did you do that, man?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I've just scored a touchdown in the last 3 seconds of a Super Bowl. It's crazy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound a little garbled, but you're there.
Okay, hang on. I'm just going to the last.
So did you do this with my new link that I sent you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was telling people while you're sitting there, I was telling people about my new product. I've only got one product, by the way. I know you got tons probably, but I got one product launched. I sent in my first 15 units right before Christmas, I think. It didn't get in time for Christmas anyway, but anyway, once it hit though, it started selling. And even though I don't know, it's not Christmas, it's selling. In fact, I'm almost sold out, and I had to scramble to get another shipment in. I send in 16 at a time. I case pack them in a box, and I got my first shipment in, and then I wasn't really paying attention, and I sold one here, and then one a couple of days later, and then all of a sudden they started selling 3 a day, and it don't take but a couple of days to start running out of stock. So I did get my second one in there, and I got to bribe my daughter or somebody to help me come in here and package up the other 284 or whatever it is. All right, so let's bring our guest on here. We've been vamping now for 22 minutes, Julian. So I'm hoping that our folks are staying, and it looks like they are. We got 136 people in the room, and
it's a miracle.
And anyway, so Dilly wants to know who's this guy. This guy is Julian Thornton. I met him through a Facebook group that we both belong to, and I saw him make a few posts, and I thought, that guy sounds like he might be experienced. So I just sent you a private message. I sent you a private message of, hey, what's up? Would you be willing to do an interview? And then we got on and started talking and chatting. And then I said, dude, you got to let me stop because I'm doing the interview right now. I don't want to do the interview right now. I want to do it live with all our folks over here. But you told me you started in 2013, and the first 8 months you did 1.3 million.
Yep.
Okay.
There's a lot more to it than that, though.
Well, I hope there is, because I don't know anybody that can start out from scratch and do that. I mean, it'd be like 2 guys lined up on a football field, and one guy is like 30 yards back, and they're going to have a race, and the guy that's 30 yards back takes off running, and when he gets to the other guy that sits in the starting block and they pull the trigger, he's already running full blast, and the guy is trying to catch up. So were you already running full blast down the field with something else to get your sales going that fast?
No, I think if anyone knows me, because I think a lot of the people on this call are probably from groups that I've been in and may know a bit of my story already. But it took us 9 months to get our first products up. So, as I was saying to you and lots of other people I speak to, if anyone should have given up, it was me and Jules. Like we were so dumb in the beginning, and we did this one of the main courses, and Julie's background's in business consultancy, in fashion, so we just assumed we were going to go to clothing. We just didn't even think of anything else. It was always going to be clothing, and just to prove how stupid and dumb we were, it took us 2 weeks to realize that clothing required approval.
I got to interrupt you, brother, because I'm getting feedback. I can't hear him, very garbled. Do you still have your Skype on?
Yeah, hang on. Do I?
Quit Skype.
No, I'm off Skype.
Okay. Go up to the top of the thing, and it says adjust bandwidth with the 4th icon that looks like the bars on your mobile phone, and click on that.
Yeah.
And you can adjust your video quality to limit your bandwidth usage. So adjust your video quality down. We don't really need to see you that bad anyway. I mean, you're not that good looking.
So this is the bar at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that? Is that better?
I'm not sure. Do you have like a crappy microphone?
I've got a Blue Yeti, mate.
Are you using that?
Yeah, should I take that off?
Which mic are you using? Are you using the mic that's on your headset?
Is it better if I do that?
Well, are you using the Yeti mic or not?
Well, I usually use both.
Well, it's
And
not
it's been
better.
fine. Is that better or not?
It's not better. No. Now we can't hear you. I don't think. There's no sound that way. No. No, there's no sound there. So undo whatever you just did. No, no sound. This is like this is punish. This is karma for taking 2 months off. Alfonso says that he thinks it's just your connection. Okay, you don't have any sound now. I think you got like a short in your cord or something, man. Did you have your Yeti mic plugged in and working? You'd have to choose that mic. Okay, so is that what you were talking into? You got a mic on your You got a mic on your headset. Is that not working? Can you not change your mic to? Now I'm hearing something.
Yeah. So now you can still hear me now, right?
Oh yeah, you sound much better.
Okay, so I've got really Yeti microphone. So listeners, children, don't waste $100 on the Yeti microphone when you can spend $20 on this piece of crap, and it works much better.
There you go. All right, everybody's saying cheers. Okay,
God,
so you were saying that you and your partner were like doing stupid things. You decided you were going to go straight into clothes, right?
Man, stupid is the understatement. So if you didn't hear what I said before, we just assumed we were going to go into clothing because Jules had 25 years of business consultancy background in fashion, right? So she knows everything about quality control and where to get the product and all that kind of stuff. And so we did the course that we'd done. I presume I'm not meant to say which course.
No, you can talk about any course.
Yeah, okay. All right. So we did ASM, right? So this is 2013. I think February was when the card opened and we joined and did the 8 weeks of the course. And it took us 2 weeks to figure out that the clothing category actually required approval. It was gated. And stupid little me didn't even work that out for two weeks. Then we spent about $5,000 trying to get approval. I mean, it's so much easier now than what it was 2 years ago.
Whoa! You spent $5,000 trying to get. Who would you pay?
We looked for a developer that could help us, or people that were supposed to know what was required to get approval, because we couldn't get any help within the group because no one else was doing it. Everyone was doing beauty and pets. So it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare, and we didn't know what we were doing. So we got to the first ASM1 conference, and I'm sitting.
What is ASM? Somebody's asking what is ASM. Can you?
Amazing Selling Machine.
It's like, a course.
It was the first sort of big course about private labeling on Amazon.
So you paid about $2,500 back then?
The $3.5, I think it was.
$3,500. Okay, yeah, it keeps going up.
$6,000 now, and it's pretty hefty, but yeah, it's a good grounding. You know, a lot of people knock it, but it's I don't think it's that bad. In fact, I think it's really good. Anyway,
Nick says he got ungated for $50. Take that.
He got on what?
He got ungated for $50.
Yeah, I know.
But you probably did it this year, Nick. Back when it was brand new, you could charge that much.
I didn't even know what gated was, it's amazing what you selectively see and hear and what you miss out on just because you're so focused on one thing, and you can get too focused on one thing and not be open to. I mean, I don't know how the hell we missed it. Put it that way. And I remember sitting on the first morning of the conference, the big event, and I had this guy next to me, and he said, "Oh, what's your experience been like?" Because of course I've just spewed all over him. I'm just like, "Oh well, it's been like this and that." Blah, 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 blah. And he's politely sitting there, just nodding his head. He's got a big Texan hat on, and a big dude. And it was one of those conversations where you knew that he was wanting to say something, but knew he had to be polite. And I finished my story, and he said, I guess that's why they told us not to go into a category that required approval. And I looked at him and said, well, when the hell was that? And he said, I think week one, video 3 or something. I turned to Julie. I said, listen to this. She said, no way. And we both missed it, like totally missed it. And I'm sure they covered category approval probably, in the first or second week. We just completely missed it. Cost us a fortune and a lot of frustration. And then in complete exasperation. Then the other thing was we got the first product to Amazon, and they lost all our stock. So,
oh my goodness.
So we had 1,000 units of shapewear, because the first product was shapewear, and they lost it. So, but we got a credit for that, which was kind of good. So we made money pretty quick.
So you got to sell all your items at one time to Amazon.
Yeah.
Did they pay you retail? Did they pay you the retail cost?
Yeah. They paid their version of retail. It wasn't completely.
Oh, okay. So it was a markup. You made a little bit of profit.
So yeah, we made profit, all right. It was kind of funny, but in terms of real sales, we while all this was going on, I think it was around about the September, October, Julie just decided to go and do this skincare product, and she like paid $12,000 for the order. And I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, oh God, And the supply was really crappy, and the product wasn't much better. Smelled a little bit better than kerosene, but not much better. And it was all grey and pasty. It was horrible. And I thought, oh no. And the packaging was awful. And we started selling a few here or there, and then we got a new supplier, new product, new packaging, and I still wasn't 100% happy with it, but it really started to take off. Within
I don't know what's going on. Everybody's saying they can't hear us. Guys, we're on here.
Can't hear us at all?
I don't know. I can hear you just fine. And okay.
Where are the latest messages? Are the latest messages at the top or the bottom?
The latest message at the top.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, we're still broadcasting. Can you guys hear me? Can hear you now. I don't know what's going on, guys. I hadn't missed a beat with okay. All right, hey guys, before you guys get confused, in 2013 and Amazon years, that's like a long time ago. That's 3 years ago. And back then, I guarantee you, there wasn't anybody knew how to get things ungated. Today, you can get ungated for free, or there's people that charge very little to do it.
It's easy.
Yeah, and Amazon has loosened their grip on gating, because every now and then you'll see somebody post in a Facebook group and say, "Oh, they're just approving anybody that's want to get in jewelry right now. So go get approved in jewelry." So ungated means, Kristen, that Amazon doesn't let you just sell in any category they offer. If they like jewelry, you can't just start selling in jewelry just because you want to sell jewelry. You have to get permission from Amazon to sell in jewelry, because they have a lot of competition. There's fraud. There's other things that they're concerned about, and so they limit who gets in there. So you have to get permission. So you can look, and you go on Amazon Seller Central and Google it. You'll find what you can list without being ungated, and what categories are gated or restricted that you have to get permission. All right, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's like I'm just reading some of the comments in here, and it's like, hopefully you can hear me. But people say, someone was asking here about who sells in clothing and what sizes, and it's if you're going to clothing, you've really got to know what you're doing. That's all I'm going to say. Like you could do a webinar just on clothing. It's so different to everything else.
Well, Mick asked this question after going through those messes, that what made Julian want to continue to pursue this. So you started out in the hole in a way. Is it just because you've had so much invested, or committed to making it work, and that's just what happened?
I hated my job. I come from an investment background, so I was. It's a very long story, but I've always been sort of sales and marketing roles, and I was a financial planner for a while, and I was always talking to people about retirement and investment goals and what a sham the whole retirement industry,
Buy and
the rest of the
hold.
world is. Just all that bullshit. Yeah, I mean, excuse the French, but like it really is BS. And so I was working a job that was out on the road, and I knew I wanted to do something different. And when I went through the ASM course and learned about e-commerce, I knew it was for me, and I knew that it was going to be a long road.
And when was this?
This is back in 2013. So when I started it was like.
No, go ahead. You're saying you're equating Amazon with also e-commerce is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So very early on, I was thinking, I want to build a real business. And very early on, I knew that if I just had products on Amazon, it's probably not going to be a real business, but it's a good place to start. And just because of Julie's background, and I've got a marketing background, so it's kind of like looking at it thinking, well, it's not really our business, it's Amazon's platform. So it's always been going on the back of my mind, and we've kind of evolved a lot, and things are completely different to what they were even 6 months ago, let alone 18 months ago or 2 years ago. So when we went through this learning curve, can you hear that noise in the background?
No. What noise is that?
I don't know. I can hear a scraping noise. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll try and ignore these weird things going on. I know Tennessee's a bit weird, so anyway, there's quite a few questions coming in, but yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, what was really driving me was the thought of not having to go back to do a corporate job. I don't want to work for companies, and I was treating this like a master's degree or doing a PhD, like an 8-year qualification to be like an orthopedic surgeon. It was like, I'm going to master this. So for me, I'm 2.5, 3 years into really studying, this business. Can you still hear me? Because it's all gone dead. I can't hear you now.
You can't hear me now.
No, I can hear you now. It's all right.
I'm muting my side so that.
Okay, okay, gotcha. It's all right. So, I think there was a deep-seated big reason why for me. There was a lot of things that I needed to sort out for myself financially, and also just from a sense of doing something I really wanted to do. And I really enjoyed Amazon. I really enjoyed the whole e-com world and the people that I met, and and unfortunately, this skincare product took off. And I say fortunately with a little touch of, a bit of a sigh, because, I mean, we had an incredible result. Like we went from 0 to like 70,000 turnover in about 2.5 months. And then within, I think about 10 or 14 days after hitting 70K, we were over 350.
350,000?
Yeah, it just went crazy. Now,
how were you even to keep that in stock? I mean,
well, I think this is a key point to make out, especially to people that are new, that are thinking, oh, you're going to go from 0 to $500,000 a month in 12 months. You're only going to do that if you've got at least 200,000 or 300,000 in the bank just for inventory.
So you did have some money sitting around.
We had some money sitting around to be able to. So
you were kind of like running. They hadn't pulled the trigger yet, and you were like 30 yards back. You had a war chest. You could hit the ground running.
Yeah. So and we had a really good supplier who was able to fulfill really quickly. So we got to one point where we ran out. We changed our listing from FBA to FBM to keep it active, and the supplier managed to get us, a lot of inventory, like 10,000 units or more in like 2 weeks. So they really pumped it out for us. That's unusual. I don't think we were lucky. So we had a bit of luck in the beginning. Now the bit where it turned sour is that in the early days with ASM1, in the early days, we used to post our new product and say, hey, give us a review. So everyone knew what product we were selling, what our main product was. And
And this is in the
unfortunately,
forum, or is this the forum for the?
yeah, the Facebook page. Yeah, the Facebook page. So everyone knew what we were doing. We got copied, we got slammed, we had spam traffic, we had negative reviews and copycats, and you name it. We got absolutely hit. And I think there was around about 1,000 listings for that particular product when we started. And by the end of that year, or within about 7 months, it was about 5,500. So,
Well, just think of all the other people you helped go into business.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we really got hit hard by some competitors, and they might be on the call, who knows? But well, good luck to you, But there's a lot of black hats of people in beauty, and I, have changed my way of going about that business totally. And it's a very long story and a long road with that.
What country were you in? Were you selling this? Where were you? Where were you located?
Just USA.
Okay, but were you located in the USA, or were you located still in Melbourne, sending the stuff to the USA?
Oh no, living in Melbourne. Supply was in America, and so everything was USA.
Okay.
So we
Patty wants to know, how did you get ungated in the end for health and beauty?
We got these guys in India on Elance that got us ungated. So we'd spend all this money with these other guys, and then I think about $400 or $500. These guys got us ungated within about a week. It was amazing. So yeah, it was. So
Nestor's asking a poignant question, especially for ASM, because this was their MO. Is it a bad idea to go into a product that is a bestseller?
Not always. I mean, I think we all would love to have like a standard stock answer for everything, and I think the big thing I've learned over the last couple of years is you got to know how to test, and you got to build a real business. So I always come back to the beginning and say, well, what's the real business? And what's your goal with that business? So for most people, when I think with putting my retirement advisor hat on, it's like, well, what's your goal? And for most people, you're going to need $3 million cash in the bank. If it's invested around about 5%, that's 150 grand a year, right?
Yeah.
Now, 15, 20 years from now, 150 grand is going to be more like 80. So is 80 enough? So to me, it's like, well, you need $1 million, $3 million in the bank minimum, as fast as you can. And like for most people, that's like, whoa, we can't even imagine it. And most financial planners will tell you to get 600 grand in your 401k or your superannuation or retirement fund or whatever it is that whatever country you're in.
And used to, you could show them mutual funds that got 12%. Used to.
Yeah. I mean, there's you can't really rely on that, but you can bet on 5% pretty easily, I think. But everyone's different, and everyone's doing this business for different reasons. If you're just doing it for an extra $3 or $4 grand a month, well, God, that's basic. That's easy. I mean, you can make $3 or $4 grand clear a month, within 6 months. I think no problem. And you don't have to be swinging for the fence all the time. And there's so many different ways of doing this business. And I think that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because your inbox is full of all these different ideas and people trying to sell your courses. And I think, the more you can step back from it all, take a deep breath and say, right, can I afford this course? Do I have the time to do this course? Do I really need it? Have I done the other courses I've already bought? If you can't, answer those questions clearly, and you got all the stuff that you already haven't done, it's like, just put your credit card away, stop spending money. And I'm focused on one thing and get really good at it. And I think with Amazon, it's so random. That's the other thing I was going to say today is that, people say they've cracked the code on Amazon. It's like the biggest, that's rubbish. No one's cracked the code. No one knows the code other than the guys inside Amazon. You can sort of guess, and it changes every couple of weeks. So to me, it's like one way that I'm working one of my accounts. We've got 7 accounts, right? So I'm working in 7 different main niches. They overlap into different categories. But
okay, let's pause for 1 second because I want to before we go into that.
Yep.
So for Nestor's question, should you get into a bestseller? It depends, but I would bet that most people that don't have 200,000 in their war chest and they have a limited amount of funds, it would probably be a mistake to go for a top 100 bestseller right out of the gate. Wouldn't you believe?
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Maybe later when you're doing 1.8 million, you might consider that. But I'm thinking out of the gate, when you're brand new, it's your first product, go for something that's less competitive, that might be in the top 3 to 8,000 range. Now, Patty's asking this question: what did you do to get to 1.8 million? How? No, it's 1.3 million in the first 8 months. How many products and in what categories? Did your healthcare product pretty much carry you to that 1.3 million?
Yeah.
I mean, you said you did 70,000 in how many? Like 4 weeks or 6 weeks?
2.5 months. We got to 70.
2.5 months to 70,000. But then the next month you went to 350.
In the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
So,
in 2 weeks.
And we had a bit of luck. I mean, in the early days, there weren't too many competitors. I think it was still competitive. It was moderately competitive. I spent a lot of time on keywords. I got a fair understanding of SEO and how that sort of works. And I spent a lot of time working on the keywords. Did a few videos, did a few press releases, the usual sort of thing. You know, I don't think that really did much. I think at the end of the day, it's like Amazon just happened to really love the listing. We got Amazon love, and I was ranking for important keywords. Dr. Oz did a feature on ingredients that should be in this particular product. We happened to be ranking for them, and it just went ballistic. You know, we were selling a product for $49.99. We were selling over 500 a day, and the product was costing us less than $12 to land, including FBA fees. So we were pretty excited. It was unbelievable. And I said to you the other day that when I was married 10 years ago, we were doing stock options, trading options. And for about a year and a half, we were doing really well. But I was reading lots of books about, you know, traders and how, you know, you can take massive hits on the market. And, you know, for 2 years, I didn't have any problems. You know, we were making 50, 60, 70K a month. And it was just unbelievable. We were just pressing a few buttons, watching a few graphs, and I was renovating houses down in Tasmania with my ex-wife. And I was super busy. But I kept on thinking, you know, this is all too easy. And I'd go to these day trader meetings with all these sort of geeky traders, you know, and they'd say, well, have you taken a hit yet? You know, what's been your worst hit? And I'm going, well, I haven't really had a massive hit. And they're going, well, you got your stops in place and all the rest of it. And they were sort of a little concerned. And they're saying, well, it's going to happen, so just make sure you got everything in place. But the one thing I didn't plan for was for the stockbrokers to manipulate me in a way so they'd make more commission and put me in a really bad spot. And I didn't have the experience to know that that was a bad thing to do, which was basically they said they were going to cover my margin or my cash for the positions with the bank. And I said, great. So we doubled up positions, which was over trading. It was a stupid thing to do. Now, you can do the same thing with Amazon. So the only reason I'm telling you that is because it's really important to build your skills and build your experience so you can recognize opportunities and you can recognize threats. And the same thing happened with Amazon. We were starting to make some incredible money. It was unbelievable. You got a couple $100 grand going into your bank account every month. It's like, woo. You know, and it was going up. And the same feeling came over me again. I'm thinking, it's all getting a bit too easy. And we did not expect what was coming. So I think slowing down and building your skills, and like building a house, you know, you've got to clear the ground properly. You've got to test it, make sure the ground's good. And then you put your you know, the foundations down properly before you put the frame up, all that kind of concept. And treat this like a master's degree, or like you're doing an undergraduate degree, then a master's and a PhD. It's like probably a 5 to 8 year process of becoming an expert, because this is changing so rapidly. And you need to know the basics really, really well and keep it simple. It's a real business. And what's a real business? Well, it's got a group of people that you're servicing, and you're in a particular market that you know really well. And this is what I say to most people I meet. It's like they're selling stuff they're not even interested in. You know, you're a massive coffee drinker, but you're selling tea infusers. I mean, I know people that are doing that. You know, just selling products they're not really interested in, and I think that's an issue, because right now we've got a lot of Chinese manufacturers and big players are coming in to sell on Amazon. They can move quicker, cheaper, and they can probably do a better product too. Not hard for them to learn how to do a good listing and do it well, and I think that's going to be more of an issue, you know, over the next couple of years. So, you know, when you think about these bigger players coming into the market that can do that for you, we have to be a little smarter. Like the smaller people, and I'm talking about people that are $1 million a month below. You know, we have to be a little more intelligent about how we go about product selection and how we're building our business and building our brand. Now, if you're building your brand on Amazon, it's not your brand. They're not your customers. So, you know, building something off of Amazon and testing your products and having a process for testing is far more important in my mind to reduce your risk. You know, drop shipping items first just to test the water, not having to commit all your income to private label up front. So you can pick winners. And I'm even now keeping my brands off of Amazon different to the ones I have on Amazon. Now, whether that's the right thing or not, I'm not sure. But so go on.
Okay, Joyce asked a question through our survey. When people register, they can take a survey and ask questions. She says, are you for or against drop shipping on Amazon? So I take it you are for it. Can you explain more what drop shipping is on Amazon and how you use it to test?
Yeah, I'm definitely for it. And there's
By the
lots of ways of
way,
doing it.
Go ahead and adjust your camera. Adjust your camera HD on up there since you had your mic fixed.
What do you want me to do?
Go up the top to that and adjust your bandwidth usage and adjust the quality back up since you fixed the mic.
So
yeah, that's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Well,
so
you want to see my pretty face?
Yeah, I want to be able to see it.
So what was the question about drop shipping? Yeah, I was told once upon a time that drop shipping is like totally banned on Amazon. It's not true. You do a search on.
Can you explain what drop shipping is?
Well, basically, drop shipping is where you're putting up a listing for a product, but you don't actually hold the inventory. Someone else has got it. So there's these drop shipping companies where you can actually use the images of the products and the copy, and you're obviously going to change it, but you put that listing on Amazon or a Shopify site or WooCommerce or eBay or whatever. And when you get the orders, you send the order to the drop shipper and they fulfill that directly to the customer that's ordered it. Now with Amazon, you've got to make damn sure that you do it the way that Amazon likes, and that's not so hard. There's plenty of companies out there that will help you do that.
How does Amazon like drop shipping? What do they want? What do they want to see?
Well, they don't want you taking an order under, say, Jake's Health Foods or Jake's Hunting Gear or whatever it might be, and then the product gets shipped by ABC drop shipping company. It's got to be coming from you. It's got to be.
It's got to be congruent branding and.
Yeah, and you've got to be really careful that you don't run out of stock, and there's issues that you can run into. Now,
well, yeah, Rob is saying as soon as a drop shipper messes up in any way, your account is closed. The margins are usually not there anyway.
Yeah, they can't. You've got to do it. It's not as simple. Nothing's ever as simple as people make it out to be. And I only do drop shipping on a couple of accounts that are not my main accounts for FBA private label. So
why do you use it? You said use it for testing, right?
Yeah, and you can you don't have to test on Amazon. So everyone's obsessed with Amazon because it's so big, but Amazon's a nightmare. I mean, I honestly think they're a pain in the ass to deal with. They've shut down our accounts for no reason on several occasions. And I know our story all sounds real good, but I think you mentioned in the posts for this session that I've had the roller coaster ride.
Yep.
So how do you think you would feel to go from, and I'm not the worst case scenario I've heard, by the way, but how would you feel if you got up to as high as 550, 600K a month, and then as low as 30, 25, 30, and then back up to 500, and you did that? I mean, it's a nightmare. And we had our main clothing account shut down 3 weeks before Christmas.
Wow.
So because of
Best
someone
time to get
complained,
that done.
unbelievable. So we've had plenty of bad luck. So, and I don't want that to scare people off either. It's just what you're dealing with Amazon, and what is really important is you diversify. So diversifying accounts, diversifying niches, diversifying platforms, and really learning this business, because it like I said before, it's changing rapidly. And the one thing that we can all do is build a community of people that are in a niche that we enjoy. It's something that we think we can, be an expert in.
Ken wants to know, why was it shut down?
We were getting counterfeit claims on the clothing, which is
That's the fastest way your competitor can shut you down, is just claim counterfeit.
Yeah.
The word is like it's like a bomb that goes off at Amazon. When they hear the word counterfeit, it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong or lying or making it up. They react like, oh, it's like an accusation of rape. You're guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people asking about, drop shipping products inventory. There's companies that can manage all your fulfillment and the inventory. It's live feed, so don't have any issues with that. And that's when you're doing mass testing. The main way I do it is really just on a WooCommerce site, where or Shopify site, doesn't matter what you use. But I've become really good at finding different products and little pockets within niches, where ideally what I'm looking for is a product that's probably selling for $150 to $250 retail, but I can buy it for about $50 to $100. BSRs are still between six and 15,000, something like that. I'll see if the same product's on eBay. I'll go and have a good look around at where this product's been sold. If it's something I can improve, then I'll just test it running some Facebook traffic to it. And then if I get some traction on it, my fan pages like it, well, then I'll amp it up a bit. Then I'll basically save the cash from the drop shipping sales to then do the private label. And that's the basic process that I work on.
So do you figure that almost any product that you come across and you think, hey, that might be a good product to sell, you can find somebody that let you drop ship it, and then you test it on Shopify or whatever as a drop shipping method, and if it sells, then you go private label with it?
That's my preferred way of doing it now. I don't want to look at products on Amazon or whatever process that I was doing before. It's evolved into something much different to what I was doing before, because before what we were doing was really just looking at Amazon, and then just straight into private label, ordering 5,000 units of a product and going hard at it. I don't do that at all now. It's like,
so that's it's similar to buying onesie, twosie, or 20 off of AliExpress and popping it up there to Amazon and doing a test run with it. And then if it sells with no help, then you can start thinking about spending money on private label.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of Shopify courses out right now. And look, Shopify is not, in my opinion, the best platform, but it's a good option to start. There's tons of training on it. Give it a shot. Doesn't always work straight up. Nothing ever does. You've got to learn how to think outside the square. You've got to learn how to apply it to your own situation. And not all products sell the same way. And this is why I'm hell-bent on people being unique about, specializing in an area that they're interested in. Because as soon as you're in an area that you're interested in, and let's say it's fishing, you know how much lures cost. You know how much, fishing poles and tackle boxes and whatever. You know what it's all about. You've got an interest in it. You can research it so fast. It's not funny. I mean, I could go into something I'm completely not into, like arts and craft, making quilts, and very quickly become an expert. Within a couple of weeks, I probably know as much as some of the best people out there, because there's so much information to get a hold of, and you just emulate successful people that have got good sites and good processes in place, and just do your own version of it.
Okay, so I've got people in here going back and forth about drop shipping. You shouldn't do it, and blah blah. You're not saying sell products through Amazon to drop ship. You're saying drop ship just to test, and then if the test goes well, bring that product to private label and put that on Amazon.
There's a few ways of doing it, right? So
Okay.
if you want to be super safe, you're going to do drop shipping off of Amazon on an e-commerce site, running Facebook traffic probably to it to test it. And there's a few different ways of doing that.
So if you're going to use a fishing product as let's say you were doing fishing products. So how would you advertise on Facebook? Would you set up your own Facebook group or page, or would you just go for?
You don't have to have your own. You don't have to have your own fan page. But
so you would build your own specific audience though, based on fishing keywords.
Yeah. So it's fishing interests and groups.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your research on a market, and let's say it's fishing, you want to find every e-com store, all the leading e-com stores, see what they're doing. You want to go to magazines.com, find the magazines. You want to go to all the Facebook fan pages, list everything in sections that make sense, so you can go back to it when you come to Facebook. Because when you go to Facebook, you can go into the insights there and look at the different audience interests,
right?
And look at what's the most relevant, because it's all about relevancy on Facebook. So the more you drill down and the more specific you get, the better you're going to end up being, because you're being more relevant and you're finding people that are engaging in your
so in the universe of fishing, if you were going after fly fishing, you're looking for those people who say fly fishing versus saltwater fishing or bass fishing. Then you're really getting particular with those people who list fly fishing as their interest.
Yeah. And I think, let's say you really enjoy trout fishing, or salmon fishing, and it's fly fishing. You know how to talk to these people, and you'll have fun with it, and it just becomes a hell of a lot easier. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to do that forever, because your e-com store for fly fishing might turn into all types of fishing, and then camping, and maybe hunting, and other activities that are outdoor activities. Like Big Bass Pro sells everything.
Right.
So, but you got to start off, back clearing the land before you put the slab down for the house to be built. Everyone's in such a mad rush to click a few buttons and make $1 million. It doesn't really work that way. You hear some of these amazing stories, and we had amazing story, but we had the cash, we had access to cash. So it made it possible for us to get the right result.
Somebody's going to ask this question. I might as well ask it now. You did 1.3 million the first 8 months. Was that gross sales or was that net profit? What's your net? What was your margin on that?
Sort of average between about 55 and 60%.
So you put about 600,000 in the bank. Is what you're saying? Not bad. Okay.
So
I like that.
It was amazing, but we created so many dramas for ourselves as well, and then we made a lot of mistakes. We spent a lot of money on things that didn't work. We trusted people, some gurus out there that I'd like really would like to say something about, but you can't. More often than not, things don't work, and this is where I get back to the know your market, know the product line that you want. And I know people are saying things about drop shipping on Amazon and being risky, but if you do it right, it's not. And this comes down to building your experience and doing things properly.
Well, that's probably the point, though. I mean, Amazon in and of itself is scary enough to try to figure out when you're brand new at it. But when you start adding something like, now go over here and figure out how to do Facebook ads, that's a whole nother critter. That seems like to me that's like compound misery to figure out both of those.
To do Facebook,
yeah,
it's a nightmare. And I'm not, I spend all my time studying this. I want to master the basics as much as I can, and Facebook is part of that right now. I've got the time to do it. So I think about the poor people out there that are they're married with kids, full-time jobs. They come home, put the kids to bed. It's 8:30. You're completely stuffed, and then you've got to go and sit down and watch videos and spend a few hours, trying to learn how to do Facebook ads or whatever. I can't believe it. Someone's come to the front door and I'm at my mum and dad's house and no one is here. It's like, just one sec. Do you mind? I'll just get rid of it.
All right. This is the craziest interview I think I've ever done, guys. All right. So, okay. Well, who should we avoid listening to? I don't think Rich, I don't think he really wants to say that. By the way, guys, all you guys who are asking questions, don't worry. I'm going to get to your questions. I don't know how many of you guys, this is your first experience with me in my interviews, but I always ask the questions. And even though we got started late, we'll go late if we have to, if you can hang in with us. I will definitely, because I've got a whole list of questions from the survey and a whole list of questions you guys are asking. Like Ken, I've got a couple questions from you, Jeff, Rich, Gene Paul, Dawn, Faisal, Nestor, Donna, Nancy. I've got all your questions over here, Ted. I will get to those questions. I'm just getting his story and trying to figure out the lay of the land with what kind of seller this guy is. He's very complicated. If you're brand new in this business, I think he's way advanced doing those things.
Sorry.
So anyway, I was telling them that I got a whole list of questions over here that have come in and a whole list of questions from the survey. So we're going to keep going, but eventually I'm going to say, okay, it's time for rapid fire. I'm going to start asking you lots of questions that we can just kind of hit and move on. Go ahead.
Yeah. So where were we?
I think you were talking about you were saying something about if you do it right, you can do drop shipping. And I said, you spend all your time trying to learn Facebook and learn this stuff. But most of the people that I have on here are rookies. They're new.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have a clue about Facebook advertising. They're still trying to figure out. I mean, if you look at the surveys I get, I say, what kind of 5-minute videos would you like to see? Like, okay, how to open an account, how to set up, how to do shipping or whatever. So that stuff is probably over their head, even though I'm imagining that you worked hard to get there. I don't know why my chat is not up to speed. I got 2 chats going on here. This is the weirdest interview I've ever done. So
doesn't surprise me to hear that. Well, let me just talk to the newbies, because when you're new, going back to the building the house concept, it's like take your time, like test the ground and learn the basics. So imagine your first year of university or college or whatever. You're learning the basics. It's 101. It's accounting 101. It's marketing 101. Second year is 201, 203. That sort of thing. And set a 5-year goal or 3-year goal of visualize what it is you want to achieve out of this, and just work your way back, and then get to the simple steps that you've got to put in place. You might have done a course, or you've just bought a course that's teaching you private label on Amazon. Now, for most people, I think private label is the wrong place to start, because you don't have the capital. You can't really afford it. And I know there's people out there say, what are you going to do with your first $500 and blah, 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 blah. But you've got to reinvest your capital, the profit, straight into inventory and hope that it sells. And that to me is just random hit and miss. And we've got over 120 products on Amazon. We've got more off of Amazon, but we've got 120 products on Amazon, and 90% of them don't really sell a lot. And some of the selling, we're like, why is that selling? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's like with the Amazon ads, some go really well, and some are just doing nothing, And you can replicate similar products in different accounts in the same category and put up your ads, and they do nothing. So I can't give you any answer on how Amazon operates. They're just so randomly weird and challenging. It's not funny. So I don't worry so much now. Like I do my testing off Amazon. You can do it on Amazon with drop shipping. You can do it off Amazon with drop shipping. You can do retail arbitrage. You can do all these different things. And I think if you're new, you need to just get with someone who knows what they're doing, who's tried a few different things successfully, and they're actually doing it. There's a lot of people out there teaching things. They're not actually doing it. all they're trying to do is to funnelize you to death.
Oh yeah.
Can you hear the noise I can hear? I can hear all this. It sounds like the alien is attacking Predator. It's like,
I'm sorry, man. That's all on you.
it's Australia. So, you know, and I know how hard it is when you start out and you're listening to all the videos, and it can get so overwhelming. And I think, you know, you've really just got to sit back and have a bit of a helicopter view over it all, and just look at the basics and build up your skills and not do anything that's crazy. And I think private label, I mean, you hear about these people like what we did, 12 grand on an order, and we had no idea what it was going to sell. I mean, that's just stupid, right? So everything that's evolved now is like, how do we limit our risk? We want to reduce our risk, maximize the upside. You know, basic accounting is really, really important. Understanding the reports within Seller Central, knowing which ads are performing, which keywords are performing. So that's drilling down into a more advanced skill set, but it's not that hard to learn that. Once you know where to go.
That's something I want to ask you. You mentioned way back when that you were really good at SEO. Can you kind of go in the difference in keywords for Amazon versus keywords for, say, Google or Facebook? It's a totally different animal, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about Google keywords. When you're starting out, you just want to make sure you get really good at the basics of finding products, sourcing products, sending them to Amazon, and getting your listing really spot on. Now, the key in all of that is picking the right products, because if you I know guys that are selling those coffee, I forget what they're called, but they're like French coffee,
French press.
French press. Yeah, they're beautiful. This guy I know, he's got a beautiful listing, but there's like 550,000 listings for that keyword. You know, it's like, it's out of control. And he's got beautiful images, fantastic title. His bullets could be a bit better, but without significant investment in, you know, promoting that product or knowing what you're doing, there's just no way in hell he's going to sell any. He's got 1,000 units sitting in FBA, and he's lucky if he sells one a week.
It's competition. It's just too many other people selling it, and there's too many people to look at.
Competition. So if you can have a system, you know, my system now is much more, I'm looking for things that are not red hot, that suit the niche that I'm in. Preferably they're ones that my community of people have said, yeah, I'd really like to buy that. So they'll test it off of Amazon, and then I'll put it on Amazon under a different brand, and it's got a pretty good chance of selling. And the brand's not going to get bastardized by Amazon by cutting the margin down, because all you hear from people is like, oh, a year ago I was selling for $40 and now I'm selling at 15, all the time. I was selling 150 a day this time last year. Now I'm selling 20.
And why do you think that happens?
Because what happens is everyone's using these software programs now, and looking at what's hot new releases and all the rest of it. People are thinking, okay, I've got to hit the ball over the park. So they're releasing their product. They're giving away a lot of products or whatever they're doing to get the rankings up. Black hatting, fake accounts, whatever it is they're doing. People are watching in different categories the fast movers, and they see this product coming up, and it sticks in the top 5, and they can work out roughly how much it's selling. So I'm going to do that, and either hijack the listing, or they go and make their own version and come in and do whatever it is they do to take over or take their share of the market. So I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be under the radar on Amazon if I can. So if I've got 100 products.
Yeah, sorry? I like dull and boring products, you know, like stuff that, like a salt and pepper shaker, something that, yeah, people buy it all the time, but it's not a fad or a trend product. It's just something that people want and need every now and then. And there's just enough people on Amazon that you're probably going to make a decent number of sales.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's evolved in a different way for us now, because we're sort of going a step back outside of Amazon, and we're testing before we go into Amazon. So I know everyone here is probably, you know, focused on private label, focused on Amazon. But what I'm trying to get across is that you have to, I think, to compete with these people that are coming in now that have got more money, more expertise, and are way ahead of the simple person who's new. you've got to be smarter. You need to be far more personalized. You need to build a community of people who know, like, and trust you. You're aligned in terms of your interests, values, etc. You know, that kind of thing. So you're attracting people in to your funnels who like the way you talk, like the way you think, or they like the way your company, your logo, your brand is talking. Some people are terrified of getting on camera and being the brand. You know, I understand that. But once you get deep into your market and deep into your niche, you understand it so much better than the average person. You know where the opportunities and threats are, but you're building something of value. Because someday you might want to sit in front of an investor and say, hey, I want to sell my business to you for 10 mil, 5 mil, 3 mil, 500,000, whatever it might be, whatever your goal is. Now, a smart investor will look at your business and say, okay, you're doing really well on Amazon. What else are you doing? Because they're going to look at that and say, well, that's Amazon's platform. They can shut you down tomorrow. Those customers are Amazon's customers. They're not yours. What about your list? Where's your list? How engaged is it? What profit do you make a month from your database of customers? What's your projected growth? And blah, 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 blah. You know, if you want to get the top dollar, you're going to have to be able to prove that it's a real business. And a real business is not just on Amazon. And I talked to some really successful sellers on Amazon that have just got Amazon businesses, and they're like, oh, yeah, I better do something about that. So they need to build their brands off of Amazon. They need to have systems and processes in place. So as you're learning these things, you know, how to do listings and whatever, you need to be documenting your process of how you're doing it and how are you going to be unique and how you're going to get off Amazon. And I know this is a lot of things to take in when you're new, but it's better you know now and you don't put a ton of money into a product that's, you know.
Let's circle back around then. How it's 3 years later than when you get started. So what kind of sales are you doing on a 12-month basis now, and how much of it is on Amazon private label and how much of it is non-Amazon?
Well, we're back over where we were when we were doing really well. So, you know, we're sort of in excess of about 600,000-700,000 from Amazon. Off Amazon, we've got 3 sites. They all do over 10 grand a month. So, you know, we're building that up. You know, I know people that sell a hell of a lot more on Amazon than what we do. You know,
but you're still building up your third-party sites. Are these Shopify or are these your own?
There are 2 Shopify sites, and there's one that's on WooCommerce, and I much prefer WooCommerce because it's a lot cheaper, and the coding's a lot easier for the coders to implement.
So basically, they build you a website, and how do you get how do you get business there? I mean, how does somebody find your Shopify business?
Well, mostly we're just in Facebook. So we've started Instagram and Pinterest, you know, and they're going okay. That I think they're going to be really successful ways of getting traffic. But you know, I think that's really getting ahead of ourselves. If most people are new, it's like get the basics right with Amazon.
But your line share is still on Amazon. You're just planning for the future by building up these other sites. And these other sites you're doing 10 grand a month on. What kind of margin? What kind of margin do you figure you're doing on those?
I wouldn't sell anything for less than 40%. And
are you including your advertising, your average cost of sales? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Now there's products that you know, very specialized cooking products and things like that. The margins are much higher. I mean, you know, you're buying for $50, selling for $350, $400. You know, it's
so you're selling some big ticket items then.
Some good items for margin. Yeah, it's like, and I much prefer that. I mean, I'd rather sell 2 or 3 a day with products that are making 150 plus profit.
So are you like selling an oven or a microwave or something like that?
I'll do things that are totally against what everyone's saying and just try them out. And it's amazing how successful some of them have been. I've had some issues, definitely, but you know, no different to the opposite. You know, when you're doing the $10 to $40 range and you know, problems with competitors and
All right, I've got questions that I want to go through here and get answered that came in off the survey, and then some that have come in here. Carla wants to know, where do you find products to sell on Amazon, and how do you get them noticed among all the other sellers? And where can you source items outside of Alibaba? So the first question, where do you find your products to sell on Amazon?
Well, that's a long question to answer, actually. I go through a process where I drill down into the subcategories of a niche within Amazon and look for a range of price points. I'll see what pops out that looks a bit odd, and I'm not really sure what it is. Click on it, but it's like got a good BSR. I'll make a note of that product. I'll go in to have a look at what the seller's selling. So I'm trying to find successful sellers that have got a good range of products, and some of them might just be sort of sitting in a pocket within that niche that's like not really looked after very well. And you might be able to do variations, and so this becomes a bit of a artistic skill, I think. After a while, you had Mike Collins on here a while back, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I stayed with Mike for a couple.
Okay, we got a bunch of folks that are taking the course that join with me, about 90 people. Now, I don't know how many people are on here that are on Mike's course if they want to chime in, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I stayed with Mike for a few months at the start of the year and had a really good laugh.
You ain't stayed with him. You actually went to his house and hung out with him. You didn't like stay with his program for 2 months and leave. Okay.
Yeah. When his event was on, and we had a really good laugh, and he's a bit of an enigma. Trying to replicate how he does the business is like, well, good luck. It's like so randomly weird. It's not funny. But the one thing I really took away from being around him was, you're always sourcing. You're always training your brain to look out for ideas, and you've got to find your own way of doing it. But like your processes of finding products and shipping them and everything, find your own way of doing it. I think if you join these big courses and use their services, it's like you're just open to abuse, number one, and number two, paying too much, and number three, not really learning the business. So, each step of the way, you should be learning how to do things. And then when you've got your process down pat, you can send it to an outsourcer and get them to do it. So someone was saying, what book would you recommend? Well, get the E-Myth for sure, Michael Gerber's E-Myth.
Absolutely. In my top 5 books.
It's like that's essential. And any entrepreneurial book that, talks about scaling. I've just read a book called Scaling Up. I forget who wrote it, but it's really good book. So I'm not a very good reader, so I go to audible.com and get the audio versions of the books.
Have you done Getting All You Can from All You've Got with
No.
Okay, I can't remember his name. Awesome top 5 books in my book. I like the guerrilla marketing book, just general marketing ideas. So
yeah, getting back to the finding product thing. It's like when you try and write something, you got to get in the mood for it, and it takes about 20 minutes for me to sort of warm up. But I go on Amazon, I'll have eBay up, I'll have Alibaba, AliExpress, and I've also got a couple of guys in China. So I've got a team in China that do sourcing for me as well, and I've got an Aussie company that are in Bangkok that help me source and find products too. So that's evolved a lot in the last couple of years too. But if you drill down into the subcategories within your niche on Amazon, you will find amazing things that just don't pop out. Like if you do the top 500 bestsellers and do absolute rubbish, drill down into the subcategories, drill down into the sellers, find the sellers that are doing well, and then what you'll find is you might find some sort of interesting product that you're not quite sure what it is. It might be some sort of some pump that goes on a boat, and you put sailing boat pump or speedboat pump into Alibaba, and all this other stuff comes up because Alibaba's search engine is rubbish, right? And everyone complains about it. But I can tell you now, some of the best products I've got have come from searching for one product on Alibaba and finding other things in there that you just wouldn't even think of. And then you go back to Amazon and have a look for it, and see that there's maybe a couple selling there for a couple $100, and the BSRs are 8,000.
What's your BSR
an
range?
outdoor.
Do you have a BSR range that you?
Depends on the category. Every category is different. So in clothing, the BSR might be 80,000, but I'm happy with it. In beauty, the BSR could be 50,000. I wouldn't be happy with it. Right. So beauty, I'd be 10 to 15,000 is fine, or between 10 and 20 maybe. But that's the absolute minimum. But beauty, I can't stand it. So
All right, we got a couple people saying, what is BSR?
Bestseller rank.
And basically, folks, what it is it's a snapshot right now on how you rank. And say if you're selling a kitchen gadget and you're in kitchen and dining, then your product selling right now compared to all the other products selling in that same category, and they say, oh, your number is 6,522. That means there's 6,521 other sellers that are selling kitchen gadgets or whatever in that category that are selling more than you, or doing better than you. Now, I don't know if basic seller rank also includes the, okay, maybe they don't sell as many, or but they have better ratings. Do you know anything about that?
Say that again, sorry.
Okay, basic seller ranking, is that strictly sales, or is it sales plus how they're doing with their feedback and reviews and whatnot? Do you reckon? We don't really know. Besides that, BSR changes all the time. It changes every hour. It's a snapshot. Yeah, it's
misleading too, because if you're in a category where there's a lot of people that have done some of these courses and they're doing a lot of giveaways and promotions that are not real sales, they're not organic sales. So you can look at products and think they're doing really well when they're not. And I've done some testing with a couple other guys who do some interesting techniques. Can't really go into it, but just to get products up onto the first 2 or 3 of the top keywords. So we did this with 3 products, and basically what happened was we targeted 10 keywords. They got them ranking in the first 3 listings, page 1 for all these products, and sales didn't change. So can you hear me, Jake?
Yeah, I'm muted, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. So that told me a lot. Sometimes you can get up to the top ranking of a product and it's just not worth it. And I wish I could say to you, there's a definite way of handling that, but there's not really. And that's why I test off Amazon all the time now, before I put my product on Amazon.
Basically, guys, basic sales ranking just gives you a barometer of, are you even in the ballpark? I mean, if again, most people say if you can find a product that's in the top 10,000 or less, when it says lower ranking, that's really a higher ranking. If you're number 1, that's the lowest ranking you can get, but you're the number 1. So number 1 down to number 10,000 generally, and just generally speaking. But like you say, there's some categories where you can still make a lot of money selling something that ranks a lot further down. But if you can find something in the 3,000 to 8,000 range, then you're not competing with the best sellers, but you're certainly got a product that's making decent sales. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people talking about reviews here, and reviews are really interesting because there's a lot of BS around reviews too. When we launch a product, we want 15 reviews, then I forget about it. I set up the emails to get organic reviews. I just want real reviews. I don't care about trying to get 1,000 reviews and gaming the system. Now, reviews to a certain degree will definitely help conversions, which will help you your rankings indirectly. But I don't think it's that important. If you're in like weight loss supplements and that kind of thing, then sure, I think there's probably an argument for it. But I haven't seen much evidence for products doing better with 150 reviews compared to products with 20 reviews. And sometimes you'll see in the top, the first page, there'll be products that are selling for the same price and they've got 10 to 15 reviews that are doing better than one with 300 reviews. Now that might have something to do with the ratings on the account and all the rest of it. And it's like, well, you know what? We can speculate speculate about what Amazon thinks about all that stuff till the cows come home. It doesn't actually help you. I think, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to do the basics right. And I think it comes back to your product sourcing. And Jake said, you know, how do you find products? And, you know, how do you get them noticed?
Okay.
And I think one of the things that you can, well, the images have got to be really good. So can you still hear me okay?
Yeah,
So
I'm muting because I'm making some noise in the background. I don't want to interrupt you. So just because it goes dark, I'm still here.
That's all right. That's all right. Just want to check. So what the hell was I talking about? We'll tangle up here.
You're talking about how to get noticed.
Get noticed, thanks. So there's a few ways you can do that. I think the most important thing is your images and making them real. So when you get your product, whether it's from the US or China, I know everyone gets it from China, but I'd highly recommend trying to get as much product as you can from the US as possible. And, you know, because it's just easier. But to get noticed, get your samples, take photos of it, learn how to take photos. I think one of the best skills you can have is get one of those little light boxes. I mean, I think for about $400 or $500, you can get a light box set up and learn how to take product photos. It's not hard. You can do it with an iPhone. You don't have to have a big digital phone. So if you've got an iPhone or a smartphone, just learn how to do it. It's probably one of the best things you can do. And take videos of using it and opening it. Someone said about product inserts before. So yeah, sure. Put product inserts in there. Get your basic website set up. Look like a proper business. Have an LLC. People say don't get an LLC. I think having an LLC is a really, really good idea, especially if you're living in America. You know, with your business address, set it up properly. And then, you know, you can show a customer on YouTube or potential customer on YouTube, well, this is what it looks like when it comes from Amazon. You open it up. This is the packaging. My packaging is always just a poly bag. I don't worry about fancy packaging, by the way. And then you can show them how to use it. You can just give them a really good look at it and show them whatever inserts you got in. It's like, oh, here's the instruction booklet, how to use it. And here's a little insert here with a special coupon for you that you can use to get 50% off purchase on my store next time round. That's one way of getting them off Amazon. Now, you'll be a bit careful with that, but, you know, they don't seem to mind. So, and you're looking at the customers, and really that's one way of starting to build your list. So the other thing you can do is, let's say you're going to sell a yoga mat or whatever it might be, or whatever the product is. You can see what's frequently bought together. Now that could be an opportunity to bundle the items. Now bundling, you've got to get the numbers right, but it's a way of preventing hijackers, number one. You can increase your profit, number two. And if you add an ebook or something like that to the mix as well, that makes it even harder for hijackers to sell on your listing. So
when you set up an insert, somebody asked if that violates a TOS if you send somebody to your own website that's not an Amazon website. Really, it's just a matter of whether or not you're selling a product off of Amazon, isn't it, that they're concerned about?
They say you can put inserts in, and it's like, you know, if you want to be, one way I do it is set up a Kindle book. So the Kindle book might be 99 cents. I'll give them a free coupon to go and get the Kindle book for nothing. And in the Kindle book are offers everywhere and links to the website and all that kind of thing. No problem with that. It's an Amazon product. You're well within your rights to put in your promotions and links to different things within the ebook. There's no problem there. I think when you definitely don't send out an email through Amazon Buyer Messages with a link to your website. I mean, that's absolutely, don't do that. But I think if you're putting an insert coupon code in there with a link to an opt-in page to get that code, that's pretty safe. Now, could it be a problem in the future? Yeah, it could be. I think the safest way is to have a Kindle book because it's an Amazon link. So sending an Amazon, a purchaser of your product that's going to a Kindle book that's related to your product doesn't seem to be a problem. But what I always do,
if we're in the fishing niche again, and you're going to set up a Kindle book, what would that Kindle book look like? What I bought a lure from you, so what's this Kindle book about?
I think the best thing to do is to say that I'd go and have a look for all the main accessories. I was doing this with someone just yesterday. Go on to YouTube, type in fly fishing accessory products, reviews or whatever, right? Have a look at what they're all talking about, and they'll be saying, "Oh, this is a really good reel. This is a really good rod. This is a really good line you need, and hooks and whatever." Make a list of all the products they're talking about. Go and find the products on Amazon. Sign up for Amazon Associate ID so you can get your links for these products. Get an ebook written on the 357 essential accessories for fly fishermen. Get that written up. And each time you talk about a product, you put a link in there to that product on Amazon, and it's your Amazon Associate ID. So not only, and that's fine to do. There's no problem with that. So you're seeding the ebook with offers that are really good, and the ones that start getting hits, because you can get that data from your Amazon Associates account. That's going to be a pretty good product to go and do. So it's another way of testing. But I think anything you can do to add value on the initial sale, it's going to help your conversions. But
so the Kindle
that's the way
book, how hard is it to create a Kindle book?
It's not hard at all. I mean,
Courtney's saying,
okay.
I'm assuming you can hire someone to do the book, and Ken says, who writes the book?
Yeah, okay. So there's a few ways you can do it, but here's the easiest way. You go to Google, search private label rights ebooks. I'll go and find a PLR company that's got a lot of fishing or whatever the topic is, books that are in your particular niche. Then you can take that book. I'd go to Upwork. I'd find a writer from Kenya who's going to rewrite the book, and you've given them a list of all the products that you're going to put into the relevant sections. Now, when you're dealing with outsourcers, the more information and detail you can give them, the better. So really think it through. It's like what you want the book title to be, how you want it to read, what sections you want. They're going to take that book and they're basically going to rewrite it and put your sections in it. And they'll put the right links in there. So you've got a spreadsheet usually with the URL for your associate ID URL for that particular product.
Dude, I almost have to give you to come back on another time and just do like a mini webinar on how to do this.
Yeah, it's not hard. And then you can get.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, it's cool. I'd love to.
Okay, we'll work that out.
Yeah, so you can get people on Upwork to do a Kindle book conversion and set it all up for you for $100. Someone from Kenya will write your book probably for $25, $30. So if you want to do it yourself, well, you can write it yourself or you can speak it yourself, and so it takes a bit of work. But once you've done it, it's good as gold, and it's offering a point of difference that most people won't go to the effort to do. So if you go to that effort, you're probably in the top 1% straight away, because most people just won't do the work. And certainly when it comes to the way I search for products, I know people just don't do it the way I do it. So, and that's what I try and teach people is, be unique, find where you fit and start thinking outside the square. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Like, find your own way of doing it. What space do you want to be working in? Who do you want to attract? There's good clients, and then there's the clients you don't want, right? So thinking about your avatar, which is your demographic of the person. So whenever you're writing up your product or doing a product video on your website or your YouTube account or whatever it might be, rather than just sort of talking to everybody, if you know that your ideal customer who keeps buying from you is a 55-year-old guy who loves barbecue and whatever, and he supports the NRA. I don't know much about all that stuff with you guys over there, but hates Obama, that kind of thing. You can talk to them in their language, and it definitely. I'm big in the cooking niche. I love cooking, and it's like I love writing about it. I love talking about it, and it's one of the main niches I'm in, and it's fun for me to do, and I know who the people are that I'm talking to. and you go as far as giving them a name, and you think
Avatar.
about when it's the avatar, and there's multiple avatars in your niche. It's not just one person, but start off with one, and just try and keep this as simple as you can. And I know it's hard. I mean, I've been rambling on about a lot of stuff here, and one thing I did want to offer to the group is to say, like, put all the questions together, or the things that you would like in a PDF, or a mini course or something, and I can put something together. I'm happy to put something together.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about this Kindle book, because this is a whole different little idea that most people. I'm wondering if you guys in the chat room, if he put together here's how to do a Kindle book, and we did a special webinar, would you pay for it? Would you guys pay $49.95 or whatever for something like that? Would it be valuable to know that? Because I don't really want to bring you back on for you to give away your information without benefiting in some fashion. I mean, okay, Courtney saying yes. I mean, it would be a good value, because I would like to know how to do that. I don't know how to do a Kindle book. I guess I could go Google it and go on YouTube, but if you've already done it, I would be willing to pay some money to.
Yeah, but I'll be happy to do that. And the other thing too is, like, I'm working on a couple of, like, the SEO side of the Kindle arena is really interesting too. I learned from a guy in a different group, so I can add that to the mix as well, because it gives you a few other ideas of what you can do on Amazon from the SEO point of view. And I think it's just something it just makes sense to me that if you're offering something of value and you can monetize that as well. I mean, at any time you should be like putting an offer in front of people, and if they can click on something, you get a little clip. It helps pay the bills,
right?
So I'd probably get maybe only a couple of grand a month from Kindle books I've got, but I mean it makes a big difference. It's like it's $2,000 I don't have to think about. And this is the other thing about delving into a niche deep. So if you think about the process of what's the real business, what amount of money do I want, and then you work back to what market you're going to be in, what product line you could potentially sell in, and then you become an expert in that field. And you might do drop shipping, you might do whatever it is to test those products and see what works. And you might do that in a couple of niches as well, just to see which niche you feel is more to your liking. You can then start looking at, let's say it was the fly fishing example. You might be really, really good at tying a fly, knowing how to make a fly and design them flies. And you do a video series of how to tie that fly. And you can sell that to your group. They already know, like, and trust you. They've known you for a while. You're putting out this course, and they said, I'd really like to see how you tie flies. How you bait a hook and all that kind of stuff.
It's kind of funny. I used to deliver pizza at Domino's back in the day, and there was a guy there. He was like 22, 23. He's a really young guy, but he was a fly fishing tire extraordinaire who wrote articles for world, famous. He was famous in the magazines in the fly fishing world. And there he is delivering pizza. Of course, that was back in the late '80s. Didn't have Amazon, but I guarantee you that guy can make a fortune today in Amazon with his fly tying skills that he had.
Yeah. Well, my ex-girlfriend's ex-husband is a champion fly fisherman here in Australia, and the people love him. He doesn't know how much money he can make online. I'm not going to tell him, but
all right. I'm going to come back to Carlo's question about can you source outside of Alibaba, but Jeff is asking a question that's poignant. You mentioned 3,000 to 4,000 a month is easy. How many products would you need in order to make this return?
Well, it could be one, it could be two, but I've set up a little text account. This is why I was saying that the review thing's a bit of a joke. Okay, so I set up 28 products, all very simple things like balloon whisks and mandolin slices and meat thermometers and all that kind of stuff. Nothing particularly exciting. All I did was make sure the images were good. I didn't put a lot of time and effort into the titles and the boards. I just sort of regurgitated the top listings. So I just sort of had a look at the keywords and just sort of threw them up. in the first month, I did about $1,200. Now that after 4 months is now around about $3,000 or $4,000 turnover. And I've done nothing. I've done no promotions. There's no reviews. I think I've got 7 seller ratings on that account. And out of the 27 products, sold out of about 14, I think 14 or 15 of them. There's a couple of them that haven't sold anything at all. And it was just a testing thing, just another way of testing. I spent about $1,200 on products initially, and I've just been replenishing since. And that's no stress. And I think, I was talking to you about it the other day. I think if you had like a step-by-step sequence of things to do for maybe an hour and a half or 90 minutes a day for 90 days, like a 3-month program where you just knew day 1 you're doing this, day 2 you're doing that, and you just put it all together, you really should be making at least 5K at the end of that 30 months. Sorry, that 3 months, that 90 days. If you just do the basics right. But I've got to say that you just never know what's going to happen with Amazon. And, we all want consistency and security. And I think you don't get that on Amazon. It's really a bit of a random hit and miss. And I don't want anyone getting off this call thinking that it's utopia, because it's not.
Catherine is wanting to know, what is a test account? A different Amazon account?
Okay. When I say a test account, it's where you're basically going to test different methods, and then when you know something's successful, you're going to put that in a main account. So you've got a main account that you're not going to sort of mess with.
You're not going to take any chances on your main account.
It's a different niche, right? So a lot of people say you can't have more than one account on Amazon, which is rubbish. You just ask permission for it. The problem with it is you've got to have a different email, different charge method, so different credit card, that kind of thing. So
let me show you guys how to get a different email really easy with a Gmail account. Take your Gmail name, like mine's Jake Robinson RVP at Gmail. And if I want to do a test account for, say, fly fishing, I could go Jake Robinson RVP with the + fly fishing at Gmail. I just made up a Gmail email account. It's a separate email. I can register with a website with that new email with the + whatever I put after it. It'll come back to my main email, but it gets treated as a separate email. It's a very fast, easy way to keep track of all your temporary emails.
And to be honest with you, Catherine, I think you asked that one.
Yes.
Your first account's going to be a test account. It's like, if you're brand new, it's like, you're testing things out.
So are you saying that if you goof up in your first account as your quote unquote test account, you open up a second account with the knowledge you've learned and don't goof that one up as bad?
Yeah. And the thing is, when you say goof it up, it doesn't mean you're going to be suspended. You just might get a lot of bad reviews on a product, and your ratings your account health is down. Like, account metrics are really important. So you can just delete the account and start over. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing to be ashamed of. People make all sorts of mistakes, but and you've got to be prepared for that. I wish I could sort of just say, this is the way you do it, bang, 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 with Shopify or whatever, and how you test. And I definitely want to work towards that. So there's something more concrete for people just to get into and keep it really simple. Because it can get so overwhelming quickly for people when they're new. I'll probably have something in a couple of months about that, but
all right. All right, we're gonna start motoring, man. I'm gonna start cracking the whip here. I'm gonna put on my private investor, my prosecuting attorney hat, my investigative reporter hat. Carlos, last question: where can you source outside of Alibaba, or do you?
Yeah, we do. There's a lot of distributors in the US, and keep it simple. Find distributors in the US. And you can test the products from there, and I do that a lot. And China's a pain in the neck, and there's all these people going over to China on these trips that cost a fortune. I think it's hilarious. You don't need to.
Well, I would have to disagree with you a little bit. If you go watch my Michael Quinn, Michael.
I know Michael well, yeah.
Okay, well, that was how I titled his interview, which is why I'm leaving Alibaba, because he says he's going straight over there and he's getting much better deals. I mean, sure, it costs a little bit, but he likes to travel anyway.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you how I did it. I got an Upwork. I put an ad for Chinese product sourcing agents. I got about 12 or 15 people that responded, and I've got 3 guys, well, 2 main ones, but 3 guys that do all that work for me. They go to the wholesaling trade
How much you pay
fairs,
them?
$8 an hour.
And how do you determine out of the 15 that you hired the 3 guys? How do you interview some? How do you do that?
Get them on Skype. Can you understand what they say in English?
Okay.
That's the first thing. That eliminates half of them. And then you just build relationships with them, because the Chinese take things pretty slow. And I think a lot of this business online with Alibaba and Amazon, it all happens very quickly. The slow thing. I'm really actually slowing things down now. It used to be like sort of mad rush, but now it's like, no, I want to take things a little slower. I want to get to know these people. And you need to have a system. You need to design a system with them. It's like, okay, how do I find the products that I'm going to send to them and say, look, can you find me this kind of product? And they go and find it for you. You know, and again,
let me ask you this: when you put that ad in, are you actually attracting these guys that have some of these skills already, or somebody says, "Oh, wow, I want to become a product sourcing guy. I don't know how to do it." But
some of them have been doing product sourcing for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
At least 5-10 years. Yeah, and they're not expensive.
Okay.
You know, so my main guy is his English is very good. He lives about 3 hours from Shenzhen. And he does an excellent job, but we've got a good system now. So, you know, I've got a template that I send him. He fills the template up with all the detail that I want in terms of pricing and the specs that I want for the listing. He gets a sample sent to him. He shows it to me on Skype, and if I want to have a closer look, he sends it to me. So then when he sends it to me, I can, you know, touch it, feel it, really know what it's all about. And, you know, quite a few get rejected, but that's getting less and less now. So it all comes back to running a real business with systems and processes in place. And
E-Myth.
you know, yeah. And if Queenie wants to fly over to China, we'll let him. Oh, it's great. It's worked for him. It's worked for him.
You call it Queenie?
Yeah. And if you know,
you seen his new beard?
Oh man, it's just ridiculous.
No, he's shaved it all off except for this.
I know. I told him to get in the time machine and go to Romania in the 1600s and see if he can get a wife. You know.
All right, we got to move on. More questions.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
All right, I mean, you have to answer them quicker too. Carlos, how do you get the packaging done properly for Amazon? How to stop others from ripping you out? Okay, how do you get your packaging done?
I just do poly bags with suffocation warning stickers on them. I don't worry about packaging.
I'm going to challenge you on this. You say this is what you do for all your products. So have you ever done any fancy packaging?
Only for beauty products that women are buying.
Okay, but wouldn't it make sense that you would get better organic reviews if somebody gets something that's, oh, it's a great product, but it shows up in a poly bag and they go, oh, this kind of looks like a counterfeit product. This guy's like a knockoff, versus if it was in a nice box, wouldn't it make them feel like, oh, it confirms that I made a good decision about this, and then I might even want to, you know, leave you a good review because of it, because it makes me feel really good. I mean, people do unboxing videos.
You'd think that, yeah, I get that, and you think that would be the case, but number one, you're spending more money on packaging. Number two, you can put a Save the Planet sticker on your poly bags with a little note inside saying, we can give you a better deal and save the, you know, do the right thing for the planet by not putting this in an expensive cardboard box. That's
there you go. You saved a tree. You bought from me. You bought from me. You saved a tree.
Yeah, and if you want to go a step further, you can say, you know, 20 cents of this order has been donated to, you know, Greenpeace or whoever it is you want to align yourself with.
Ken saying that doesn't sound very impressive though.
Doesn't have any effect on reviews. I'm telling you, we've got another product. We have another product that we've put in a magnetic flip box. all it's done is cost us an extra $2.
Well, it'd be interesting to see if you actually could test that out, because I know Mike.
But we do test it.
I mean, testing. No, I'm saying testing a poly bag versus go ahead and getting a box on 5 or 6 of your products that are selling that you always do poly bags on. Put them on your test account and do some fancy boxes for them.
We regularly get comments from people saying that it makes perfect sense, or thank you for not putting it in some packaging I'm just going to throw away anyway.
Yeah, if you explain that to them, I think that's brilliant, though. I think it is brilliant to say save the planet.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. I know tons of people that spend so much time on bloody packaging. Swear to God, waste of time. Polybag it. If you get complaints, stick it in the packaging. But I really don't think it's necessary.
Well, I'm going to probably have to do that, because my one item, that's one of the negative reviews, is I opened the box and the mounting hardware was missing, and so I'm probably going to put it in a blister pack. But I've actually figured out how to tighten up my shipping, and I hand pack it with care now, and it does a little bit better. Gary wants to know, where do you find these sourcing agents? I think you said you put an ad on Upwork.
Upwork, Elance, Freelancer.
And do you choose a country? Do you have the ability to do that?
Well, you do. Yeah. So you can, but if you put China sourcing, like in your posted ad, Chinese sourcing agent, you'll get Chinese people.
All right. The last question from Carlo is how to stop others from ripping off or copying your product.
Well, that's really hard.
Okay, we probably don't need to answer that right now.
You basically bundle, add the Kindle book to it.
Add something that makes it unique. They can't copy.
Yeah, it makes it hard for them to copy.
Ken says, what text should we include on a retail box other than the FNSKU label that you send to Amazon FBA? The item is in home and kitchen category. So you're not actually, you just probably answered that question because you don't have boxes. So you're just putting your FNSKU.
FNSKU is on the polybag.
And do you put a little insert, something typed up on the text on the little paper that you put in there? Do you put a link to your website or that kind of thing? Besides the message about
it'll either be an instruction leaflet, a postcard with it'll be a brightly colored postcard saying, thank you for being a customer. Here's a 50% discount coupon for your next order. Go to this link, and they'll click onto the link. And
is that the Kindle book?
It could be the Kindle book. It could be an opt-in page where they will go through to put their email address in. That's a way of collecting emails. If there's a Kindle book associated with that product, then usually I'll send that through by messaging because it's an Amazon link.
Okay. Now this
that
is
might be a bit dangerous, but it's been okay so far.
This is related to Carlos. Different players that take over my sales, for example, all the different types of hijackers, not people selling similar products, but selling my product or using my listing. Is there a way is this the same answer? Bundle, use other thing, use ebooks, use Kindle books or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we answered that one.
You do this cease and desist letters and what have you. There's a few ways of dealing with it, but we're getting into sort of more complicated.
We may have already answered this. Wayne was saying, do you do merging drop shipping with private label in some capacity or wholesaling with private label?
If I'm understanding you correctly, it's kind of like that, yeah, because I'm testing the drop shipping first, and then I will take the successful ones and I will then private label them and then build around that niche.
Okay. Now, are you doing any kind of wholesaling with private label? Is there such a thing?
Well, there is, but I mean, it's short answer is no.
Okay. Wayne also asked, how do you manage your time, planning, execution, and then review your results for future planning and execution? This is probably your systems that you have in place, right?
Yeah. It's everything that we're doing. We're putting the steps. What the task is, what's the outcome. And then step one is this, and running it through. Then we'll do that ourselves, and then we'll pass it on to one of our VAs to to do from there, and then it's managing them to make sure that they're doing it right.
Okay. All right. Patty wants to know, what tools do you use to source and sell products? Do you have any software tools like ASIN Inspector or AmaSuite 4.0 or Jungle Scout?
No. I mean, Jungle Scout I've used a bit. I haven't used ASIN Inspector. I tend not to use a lot of these things that everyone's using, because if everyone's using them, they're all coming up with the same sort of ideas. So
Well, no, wait a minute. I disagree on that. You don't Jungle Scout.
Sorry?
Jungle Scout is just giving you numbers, basically.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's just telling you whether or not a product has any sales or not. Don't necessarily direct you to a specific product. Now, if you use the AmaSuite 4.0, I would say, yeah, top 100 analyzer, you would probably want. But then again, every time you drill down to the next 100, you're going into another 15 or 20 subcategories, and then within that one, there's another 15 or 20. I don't see how anybody actually comes out with the exact same results using that one.
I'm just not overly. It's just not my style.
So you just do it free. You just do it longhand on Amazon yourself. Do you have do you cut and paste into a spreadsheet or anything like that?
I guess I do it in a like a freestyle sort of organic way, and I just find that works better for me than. It's like using, say, Fresh Key. So when you look at keywords, you can use merchant words, Fresh Key, Amazon related search, right? And I think this is probably where I start, and that's where it all flows from here. When you use Fresh Key and merchant words, when you look at the latest Amazon related search, they're often very different. They're often subtly different, and those subtle differences can make a big difference, because at that particular time, these keywords on Amazon related search are doing better than what's in say Fresh Key or merchant words. And merchant words is quite misleading, but you get product ideas from that. I get product ideas from Jungle Scout Pro. So, but I think I'm just trying to find a unique way. So I'm not bagging AmaSuite or Jungle Scout Pro, because I've used them and they can be useful. And if that's what works for you, then go for it. And so there's no right or wrong. I'm just saying, in my experience, I've talked to a lot of people, and they use all these tools, and they seem to be coming up with very similar products a lot of the time.
Okay. How do you promote your products? How do you promote your products?
We've got a list of about 30,000 people, so I just press a button and say, this is the new product.
And this is coming from your existing customers that click the link off of your Kindle book or from your insert. Okay.
Yeah,
what are you the most? What were you doing in the early days when you didn't have a list of 30,000 people?
So, well, really, in the early days, like I said, we got lucky.
You got lucky. You didn't have to. You didn't have to, right? You got the healthcare.
Yeah. So
took off.
So we did some inserts. I think the Kindle book really helped to build the list, but I started a daily deals site that did okay. So we did lots of different things that just helped. We built up a list of people through our website. We asked them to share with their friends. We gave them coupons for their friends. So we just did lots of incentivizing for the existing list, and that's how we steadily grew it, and managed to convert quite a few over from Amazon. But I want to do less of that. I want to do a lot more list building outside of Amazon and building my community.
Okay.
What are the most these things like? So go on.
I'm just moving on. What are the most successful categories you sell in?
Clothing, pets, and kitchen.
Okay.
Outdoor starting.
Okay. Next question. I got a bunch. How would you get past the fear of making a mistake and losing money by selecting the wrong product that does not sell?
Well, then you just got to get over that one, Patty.
Just go ahead and pull the trigger. Order a small amount. Figure out that you can probably dump the price on them and get your money back off of eBay, selling them at wholesale.
Yeah. Is this your first product? You've never put a product up?
I don't know. I think it's Patty Grimm. Patty, if you're in the room, let us know if this is your very first product ever.
I'd strongly urge anyone who's brand new to source from the USA first. That's just my opinion. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. But I'd keep it simple. You got to build your cash flow up. So if it's a brand new product and you got to go to China, then get 40 or 50 units if you can get 40 or 50 units.
I say go on AliExpress. It's kind of like your drop shipping thing. Go to AliExpress and order 20 of something and put them up and see if it sells. Hen says the back end operations, i.e., how do you run your business? Examples: what reports do you look at every day? What do you have VAs do? What metrics do you review, etc.?
Okay, so I've got VAs that are basically looking after the buyer messages. I look at advertising reports, campaign search term reports every couple of days. I don't tend to look at the unit sales per day. I kind of trying to avoid that if I can, because you can get a little bit over enthusiastic or sad depending on how the day is going. But certainly the advertising reports I'm looking at a lot for the performance campaign.
So you're doing pay-per-click and looking at that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do pay-per-click on every product?
Sorry?
Do you do pay-per-click on every item?
No.
Okay, why not?
Maybe to start off with, because it's just so random. Like some products, I'll run an auto campaign first for about a week. Then I'll wait a few days for the data to come through. Then I'll get the report. Then I'll take whatever keywords are from that, add them to my list. Then I'll do a manual campaign for about a week, see how it goes. And if it's not really getting any traction, I just stop it. I don't worry about it.
How much money do you normally budget daily, and how much do you bid? I know it depends, but
depends on the category. Super competitive category, well, it's probably gonna be 100 a day. Bid, I'd put the bid high to start off with, just to get the impressions. And then I'll bring that down after about a week if I'm getting some results from it. And usually, if the estimated bid is 25 cents, I'll put it like 47 or something like that. Keep it at an odd number. Don't know why, but I just do. But Amazon ads, no, I don't know. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're just absolutely hopeless.
Okay.
So.
All right. Let's see. Samuel wants to know, where are the other sales channels besides Amazon, eBay, and Etsy that you might use?
Well, you got Rakuten as well.
Is that the Chinese version of?
It's Japanese, isn't it?
Japanese, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of other platforms. Now I'm just looking at all this multi-channeling stuff right now. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you, but there's a whole stack of them. So
I'll turn to a guy that knows. I interviewed Michael Dudley, AKA. He's a big multi-channel guy. He's done them all. He's used the services and all that. If you need to talk to him.
Yeah, I've got a developer who's sort of shown me what he does with all that. But I'm not, I'm not too phased about that. I want to get my stores functioning well. I want them secure, consistent. It's you can get too far ahead of yourself before you're ready. So it's like I'm curious about it. I want to know about it, but I'm not sure that I'll implement it until probably another year or so from now.
Okay. Samuel's wanting to know, what is the ideal minimum capital to start off with? And I'm thinking that, ideal minimum.
Oh God.
Whatever you have.
So many people are going to disagree with me on this one, because I think private label starting off is like pretty risky. And
would you say go RA then until you bank some money?
Well, that's kind of the point I was trying to get at before, is that you do the drop shipping and retail arbitrage or whatever you can to build your cash up. You've got to build up your experience and your skills as well. I mean, because like we got up to a level that we were at before we really deserved to be there, and we didn't have the experience to really know what could go wrong. And slow down and build it up slow and steady is my preferred angle. I don't go for all the hype and all the noise. So bring it back to the simplicity.
So June saying here, I have limited funds to sink into PL, doing RA, trying to build up funds but going slow. Advice: just keep doing it, right? Until you hit. Do your
Yeah,
research. You be doing your research while you're doing that, and once you find a product you think you can PL, siphon off some of your profits.
It also depends on how much time you've got too. So if you've got limited time and you've got kids running around or whatever the situation is, so you've got to take a realistic assessment of the time you've got. So if you can drop ship as well as retail arbitrage, then find out how to do it. If you can find a pretty safe private label product and you've got someone who's got some experience to be able to say, well, it's probably not a bad bet, and you can get like 50 to 100 units of it, and it's not going to break the bank, and you learn some bit of experience from shipping from inside the States or out, from China or South Korea or wherever you might be getting your products from, then you're building your skills, but just do it in a way that's limiting your risk, because it can get very risky if you don't know what you're doing. So I just think you build it up steadily.
Okay. Let's see. Alfonso has another question. What was going on your mind as you prepared to contact suppliers and prepared to launch your first item? Can you remember that? What you were thinking back then?
I'm not really sure what he means. I mean, I'm this sort of person. I just get on with it.
Yeah, he's probably saying, "What's your state of mind?" Were you like, I mean, you didn't know what you were doing yet, probably, but you're still following a course, so you weren't going blindly. So, Alfonso, the question is: are you taking any courses right now, or have taken a course, and does it have a step-by-step process?
No, I've sort of worked out my own way of doing things. I mean, I've done tons of courses, but I don't think most people can do as many as I do, because they don't have time and they're not as obsessed as me, probably.
Or the money.
Yeah, and the money too. So I think if you're in a course right now, just master what's in there, and if you've got people in there that are more experienced, then just keep on asking questions and building your skills up. Because when it comes to Amazon, there's only so much you can really do, to be honest, without doing black hat. I mean, it's good images.
Right. It's
focus very much on the keywords. The keywords are the key. So
Catherine is asking, why is PL expensive? Where does this cost come from? Well, it's just basically ordering your product. If your product costs you $5 and it costs you $5 to ship it, it costs you $10 a unit, and you buy 1,000 units, there's $10,000.
And then, it's the time too.
The time, yeah.
I don't know how many. Look, constantly I talk to people. We had a networking event here for ASM 2 nights ago. Rich Henderson was here from Amazing Sewing Machine. It's probably about 70 people that came along, and I think there was probably 3 people that were doing more than 10 or 15K a month. Everyone was struggling. They'd all got 1 or 2 products that were just doing absolutely nothing, and they put maybe $5,000, say it as an average, into their business in the last 12 months, and they were not getting any traction. And that's a cost in itself. Now, have they learned something along the way? Yes, they have. But for some people, that's all the money that they've got. So I'm just saying there's ways of going about this where you can build up your cash flow first before you go into private label. Private label is fantastic, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there's more sensible ways of going about it before you get into private label.
Okay, June's got another question here. I want to PL in the U.S., but not sure where to begin. There's Alibaba for China, but I do not want to deal with China. I want to make it in the U.S. as a USA person. Is that impossible?
No, I think it's totally possible. There's tons and tons of distributors. So if you Google USA drop shipping or wholesaling or private labeling, whatever, just go hunting is what I'm saying.
Or go to some trade shows, maybe.
So, yeah, totally, trade shows.
If you're in the fishing, if you were trying to get in the fishing niche, you might go to the annual trade show for fishing suppliers and vendors and whatnot.
Contact people that are in your niche. Facebook fan pages, magazines. Get out there and talk to people. I'll give you a really good example with one guy I know. USA suppliers suck. Yeah,
tell us why, David. Why?
A lot of Chinese ones do too. Trust me, big time.
I think what happens though is you find that even USA companies are just they're kind of lazy sometimes. I tried to source a product. The guy was going to send me some samples. He never sent them to me. I couldn't get up. I was like, okay, really?
Yeah, you get the same thing in China though, and you get them sending you the wrong product, and there's all kinds of things that go on. So the reason I use my guys in China is I get them to deal in Mandarin with the suppliers and the manufacturers. They get the sample products, they deal with all the headaches, and they make sure that they're responsible for making sure I don't get screwed. So, if something goes wrong, it's on their head, and they know it. With the US suppliers, you just got to go hunting for the good ones. There's plenty of good ones.
Just do your homework.
Lots of distributors.
Yoon wants to know, do you have a product page WordPress template to help promote one's Amazon listing, to direct link to Amazon, or to build your brand outside of Amazon and develop your own e-commerce empire? Where to have boxes and packaging printed, created? Okay, we've already answered that question. But the first question, do you have a product page WordPress template? I don't know what that means.
Well, you've got themes for WordPress and Shopify. You've got different apps and plugins for.
So you're talking about a landing page then?
I'm not 100% sure, but WordPress templates are everywhere.
Yeah.
For your product pages, you can just do a search for them. You'll find them.
Well, he's got in parentheses to direct link to Amazon and to build your brand outside him.
Yeah.
I don't know that you'd ever want to do a direct link, would you?
Well, I think what he's saying is you've got a product page on WordPress. When they press the buy button, it goes straight to the Amazon listing and they buy through Amazon, and that's fine to start off with.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Boxes and packaging, don't get caught up in all that stuff.
We already talked about that. Horatio, the wrong one. Hold on. Horatio says, how much money did you invest in Amazon to have made over 1.3 million? And how did you start out with what? We know what you started with. We already talked about the products. How much do you invest in you? I mean, you started off with the one product, the clothing product, but you said you had trouble getting ungated. Did you still pursue that when your partner decided to drop 12 grand?
Yeah, after that we got the and it's the thing that really saved us when things turned bad, because if we hadn't got that ungated, put the products in there, it would not have it would have been really serious for us. I think a few months after, things really turned on us in the beauty category. So and then we've sort of built that up.
But you said you invested 12. She dropped 12 grand on the opening order for your. So that's how much she put into it.
Yeah, 12 grand the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, David's saying, hell yeah, I use WooCommerce and WordPress.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, Horatio's asking, how much money did you? Oh, we already answered that question. Hold on, get rid of that. Okay, another question from Horatio. Sometimes it feels like as though a UK seller, you're some kind of alien, and the only site that exists is USA, and courses and information on the web. Where are the UK sellers that have made their millions, and why haven't any of them set up courses from the UK, Europe? As a matter of fact, one of the guys I interviewed, Saj Jalani, has a podcast called Anybody Can Do It, and guess what? He's got a course. He lives in London, and most of his people who take his course are in the UK. So if you want to find out more about that, I can give you more information. And Julian, you're starting some kind of course, aren't you?
Yeah, it's not going to be well. I've got links to the Market Superheroes guys. Robert and Stephen. They've got a pretty good.
That's right. Those guys are from Ireland. So there you go. There's two of them right there.
I'd certainly give them a look. What I'm going to do is more. Well, there's a few things that I want to do, and it's more about real business and setting up just a few products on Amazon, and also to help the people that have got very limited time and limited funds, and show them how to put all these pieces together. And it's a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, because I don't just want to just shove up any old thing. I think it's got to be something that really can work, and for the average person to do, and not put them in a situation where they're having to scrape all their money together for a private label product. Like it's all about cash flow. Everything's about cash flow and doing it faster than slower, and limiting your risks. So that's what I'm working on over the next few months. I'll do the Kindle thing and SEO. I've got another guy who's specializing in Japan. I think Japan's awesome because no one really wants to go there. Very few people want to go there. So I like to go where people don't want to go. I've got all my listings translated in Spanish to list on Mexico. So that'll happen probably next month as well. So I'm always out looking for slightly different ways of doing things. It's just the way that I roll, you know. So yeah, I'll definitely have something, and I'll start my podcast soon too. So,
well, we might get together and put together that Kindle ebook, maybe like a la carte course that, you know, just kind of a taster course or something.
You know, it depends what people really want. You know, I'm happy to put whatever, you know, if people got suggestions and what they really think they need and want. You know, it's, you know, I can just answer questions through a PDF or do a video on answering the questions. I'm happy to do that.
Blaine, it's called Marketplace Superheroes, and it's Stephen and Robert, other guys. If you just Google Marketplace Superheroes, I'm sure you'll find it. Okay, I gotta. This is really directed. This is a rant that Horatio left in my survey. He says, my rant is find people who aren't just from the USA. Do I know any? No, that's the point. That makes me wonder if most of the stuff I have heard is bullshit and just played upon by those are all in the same pockets. Dream guest would be someone from the UK or Europe who has had vast success like the US members. The laws are different, and the way Amazon UK treats us is different policies, different criteria. It would be good if more of these so-called courses, happy takeout money, at least focused a tad on the UK, Europe, rather than tell us, yes, it covers UK. More than not, the answers aren't there for the UK sellers. This does not need to be read out. It was just me letting go. Sorry, I blew
Tough
it.
luck.
But the reason I did that, Horatio, is I just told you about Saj Gilani. He lives in London. I interviewed him. He's making great money. I think he did over $1 million this year in sales. He has a course. I interviewed Zach Kahn, who is from the UK. I interviewed Martin Quinn, who was in Bombay or somewhere. I don't know where he was when I talked to him.
Bali. He's in Bali.
Here's Julian from Australia.
I'm English.
Yeah, he's English, and I interviewed 3 guys from China that are from the U.S. but are living in China and sourcing goods. You need to go back and watch all my last year's episodes, and you'll find out that exactly what you're looking for. Marketplace Superheroes is UK centric and Europe centric. Those guys know how to go all over the EU and do that, and they're reasonably priced. I think about $1,000. So there's your rant.
They're not expensive, and if you connect with those guys on Facebook and or through their course or whatever, you'll get answers quick.
Oh, and I forgot. I interviewed both Robert and Stephen on my show as well. So there you go. There's 2 more people that are making big bucks, just like the U.S. sellers. So, so your rant has been defused. You should be calm. Put on some, you know, put on your essential oils diffuser, and chill out. Okay, Carla says
from Amazon.
Carla says, what does he see coming in the new year in Amazon? Do you see anything? Do you have any expectations about things that might change?
I don't know. I don't think I'm in a position to sort of know that kind of thing. It's like all I know is that there's a lot more bigger players coming in. A lot more Chinese manufacturers are selling direct on Amazon.
So how does that impact us? I mean, isn't there kind of a taboo thing for the U.S. customers to say, I don't know what I want. This is shipping from China. I don't know about that. That's scammy sounding. Doesn't that give us some kind of protection that the fact that it is shipping from China?
No, because they're setting up listings directly within FBA.
Yeah, but it's
they're doing the same thing we're doing.
Oh, they're sending it. Are you saying they're sending their stuff to FBA in the USA?
They're private labeling.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered how long it was going to take. I figured, you know, what's the upside, or what's the window of opportunity for private label USA for small players like us? I mean, why wouldn't Amazon just go straight to Alibaba and just cut us out and just create, a massive, campaign to cut little players like us out and go straight to the manufacturers? That's where we're going.
My concern is not having control over my business, and if everything was on Amazon, which most of it is at the moment, but I'm working on that, then you don't have a real business. So without systems and procedures and your own database and your own community of people and all that stuff, you don't really have anything of real value. And Amazon can pull the plug on you anytime they like, and they might change the rules this year, next year, whatever, and say, if you're not selling more than 100,000 a month for the last 6 months, you can get lost. I mean, who knows what they're going to do?
Right.
So I don't like that feeling. I lose sleep over that. So that's why I'm hell bent on producing my own systems, my own way of doing things, so that kind of insulates me from the big players, because the big players are just going to go for the tight margin, mass volume, all that kind of thing. If I've got a community of people that know, like, and trust me, and I can provide them with quality and customer service and all that kind of thing, much better protection, I think, from that.
All right. Her third question is, when does he decide to not continue a product, and what's his strategy for dumping them? Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think if a product's profitable and it's turning over within the sort of 3 to 6 month time, I'm quite okay with it. But it depends on the margins.
Does it matter? Yeah, that's what I say. Does there a minimum margin where you say, if I had that money going into this product, instead of making 10%, I make 30%?
And it also depends on if there's tons of competitors coming in there as well. Like we sell a phytoceramide. It sells about
what?
Phytoceramide. It's like a skin supplement. It's little capsule for wrinkles. Okay. I hate all these products, so that's why I've got no problem saying what it is. And we probably make about $10 to $15 every time we sell one, and I reckon we sell about 3 or 4 a week. But we keep it on, and we only order 50 or 75 at a time when we need it. But it ticks over, it's making money, so I'm okay with that. But there might be another product that's just like got tons of competitors around it, and I don't want to be with it.
Now, all right, let me ask you this then, as a thought experiment: if you have another potion lotion type product that actually gets a better turnover and a higher margin, why wouldn't you just stop the one that's doing $15 a pop and go to the one that's giving you 20 or 25 that's actually selling more than a handful a week?
Yeah, you could do that. You could bundle them. You could do all kinds of things. But I think if it's making money, it's making money. I was just going to say, though, that if, let's say, the trend was over, which with phytoceramides, it looks like it's getting close. Probably is already over. Haven't looked at it for a while. But let's say that it decreased below that. I think you just make a judgment call. If it's too much of a pain in the ass to put it up, then stop it. But it's making money.
Hey guys, I want to ask you a question. All the people in the chat room, when I could take this video and edit it and like take out the first 30 minutes where Julian wasn't with us and put that on the replay link, would you guys think that'd be the best thing to do, or leave all that stuff in there? Because this is going long. We're now at 2.5 hours, but we're really at 2 hours because we had a half hour of trying to fix things. Okay.
I'm just warming up.
Yeah, okay. Joyce wants to know, what should I focus on when I'm trying to scale up on a small budget? What should she focus on? Okay. Courtney says delete. Gene Paul says put it up. So put up the whole thing. Dana just said yes. I don't know what that means. Should I delete? Should I edit it or not edit it? Put it that way.
I think it's yes, delete it. What you should focus on. God, it's a really, really hard question to answer. I think you've got to really know your numbers, know your cash flows. But the problem that you've got is, let's say you've got a small budget, and I spoke to a guy the other day. It's probably the best way to answer it. He's selling something in pets, He loves his product. He's totally married to his product. He's only ordered like 150, but he's sold out because he's run out. But he's run out of cash, so he was out of inventory for a while because he doesn't have enough cash flow on the side. So it depends on how much cash you've got. If you haven't got enough cash there, I think you've got to look at something like the RA and the drop shipping. So if you want to persist with that product and try and get it scaled, well, I guess you've got to see how good you can be with your PPC. See if you can get a better pricing from your supplier. But to me, that's all clunky and it's pretty hard work. So I kind of think that if you're tight for cash, you've got to find other ways within the e-commerce world to build up your cash flow. And I think RA, drop shipping are probably the two easiest ways of doing it.
Okay.
There's multiple ways of going about it, but we'll be here forever if we won't go down that rabbit hole.
AJ says, how do you do a proper launch and not be overwhelmed with too many things to do? Also, with limited funds, outsourcing is out of the question for now.
Yeah. Again, probably the wrong business model for you, but at the end of the day, it's all about systemizing what you're doing. So you get those first 10 or 15 reviews. I wouldn't worry about getting any more than 10 or 15 reviews to start off with. Now, you can do that family, friends, and whatever way you can to get that first 10 or 15 without going out to these review sites. I'm not a big fan of the review sites because it exposes you, number one, and number two, a lot of them get deleted anyway. So, but you only need 10 or 15, so that's not a lot. So if you're building up a list, but the best skill you can build is a list building skill. Get Response, and I have it costs like $20 a month or whatever it is, but they have a free list building course. But you can go to YouTube and find information about how to start building a list. It's not that hard. Okay, so you need to find a way of building a list because then it just becomes easy. When you got a list of 10,000 people and you want to launch a product in that niche, it's a piece of cake. But it takes longer. It's not a push button thing, And
so this kind of folds in with what Ricardo's asking here: what to focus on for fast growth. The question might be, should he focus on fast growth?
No, you don't want fast growth. I know a guy. I think we were talking about the other day. He sells 400,000. His turnover on a daily basis is 400,000 plus, between 380 and 400,000 plus every day.
Holy
guys! It's ridiculous. I've seen it. I know it's the truth. Doesn't sell courses. So, he looks at all this stuff and he goes, well, you just don't want that. He said, he gets banned. He gets his accounts shut down because his velocity is too high. His sales velocity is too high, it gets shut down. But he's been in this business for a long time and he knows how to work around and has multiple accounts and they get suspended all the time.
So what kind of product is he selling? A ballpark? I mean, you don't have to tell us the product.
Tons of stuff, lots of different things. But I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, but he knew about the hoverboard craze 3 months ago, and everything he said about it has come true.
And he predicted the demise of it very quickly, right?
Yeah. Oh, knew exactly what was going. Like he told me before Christmas. He said, "Oh, yeah, I'm just going to cut it come New Year." And I'm sure there's some poor bugger out there that's just ordered 5,000 hoverboards and he's just going to have a hell of a time. It's on the boat right now. May as well just torpedo it, So fast growth, nah. Steady, Freddy. Learn
Courtney
the skills,
says,
build your experience.
Courtney's want to ask, if you're just starting out in clothing, what sizes should you get gear towards? I was considering doing plus sizes. I feel it's an untapped market.
I think you need to know a lot about clothing if you're going to go in clothing. We are in it. Jules and her friend Donna, they've been in the industry for 30 years. They know all the traps and loopholes, and you need a lot of capital. The one thing about the clothing category is if you go and search the clothing category, you'll notice the top sellers have all got lots of variations and the margins are tight. So you might sell plus size leggings, for example, or something like that. And if you really want to be up on the first 2 or 3 pages, you're probably going to be selling it around about $10. So you might make $3 or $4 a unit.
Wow.
And then you don't know if you're really going to sell. So I think clothing's something that you need a lot of
it's a
experience.
slippery slope.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
Don says, although I only carried a couple of clothing products in sporting category, my stats took a bloodbath. Never again.
Yeah. So, and look, some people do really well. Like if you're going to go into clothing, I'd look at things like vintage dresses, you know, like something that's a little bit unusual, costumes and things like that. And something that's themed, maybe. But again, you're going to have multiple variations, which means you've got to put more money in there to really get the rankings going. And we've done really well in clothing, but we had capital, you know. It's
right. You could afford to invest.
People with huge experience.
You could pay the stupid tax because you could go into it and spend money until you figure out how to make it. Rich says, what courses are worth spending money on that you've taken in the past?
Oh God. Surprisingly few. I think the way to answer that is that all the courses have got something to offer, and there might be a course that I really like that you do, and you just think, oh, I hate that. I don't like this person. So I think
you can take my course. You can take my course for free if you go back and watch all of the interviews I've done. Everything you probably need to know is in there. You may it's not set up in a course fashion. But I did have a guy say he watched every single episode twice. That's a lot of hours.
Let me tell you something else. We haven't mentioned style guides. Amazon tells you everything that you're supposed to do. So search for the style guides for your category. You also want to have a look at the item type keywords for your category, and look at the pathway for the search to that product. So that if you go down the left-hand side of the page, yeah, it's kind of like the pathway to the subcategories, so that you might find one subcategory for your sort of area of expertise. There's like 3,000 people selling in one subcategory, and there's another related category where there's only like 10 people. So you've only got to beat 10 people in that to get the best seller.
So you change your node or add that node as your second node?
Change the node. We don't talk enough about the keywords and the item type keywords and the nodes and the pathways, and I think that is really, really important. But it changes all the time. That's where Amazon's so frustrating, because and that's why it's random, because they're playing around with things all the time that it's very hard to keep up with what they're doing. So
how many products are you selling right now?
Over 120.
Wow. How do you balance and how do you juggle all that?
Well, I think a lot of it's set and forget.
Okay.
I am looking at there does appear to be some software out there that can help you sort of manage things in a multiple dashboard sort of sense. And
okay, I think we have already answered it. But Faisal saying, do you input sales inserts? I use one that asks the customers to visit my webpage and get a chance to win a gift card if they register their email. Is this okay to do?
Technically speaking, it's against the TOS, but I've been doing it and it hasn't been any problem. But you do have to be careful. I think that the Kindle book idea is probably safer, or putting something in there that doesn't. Well, look, for the short answer is it's fine. If you're going to do it, make sure it's brightly coloured. Make it even ugly. You know, it's like it doesn't have to be glossy, sort of pretty looking stuff.
Bright fluorescent green.
Fluorescent green, burnt orange with black font. You know, and then a blue hyperlink. So they can make the hyperlink really simple.
Nestor, I have $1,000 to start sourcing. Any tips?
What was that? Sorry. Nestor
has $1,000 to start sourcing with. Any tips?
Yeah, save it and drop ship.
Okay, there you go. Donna this is not a question. Your Amazon name must be on the receipt. She's talking about drop shipping, that you got to make sure your drop shipper puts your name on the receipt, right?
Absolutely. You've got, if you do drop shipping on Amazon search on Seller Central, you'll find a page that tells you
what the protocol is.
And I would always send a message buy a message with that link and saying, I just want to clarify what I can and can't do with drop shipping, and get a response from them, and even go back and forth a few times. Save the case ID number somewhere just in case you run into trouble, because then you can go back and say, hang on, you told me you could do this and I've done it this way. And, you know,
Ken's saying, what if you, so Ken's saying if you're drop shipping, what if the vendor doesn't have the product in stock and didn't tell you? Does that ever happen?
Well, it can happen for sure, but if you deal with the companies that automate the process for you and they have live feeds for the inventory, then you don't run into that problem. Because as soon as it runs out of inventory, it suppresses the listing.
Okay. Nancy's saying, what other drop shipping test sites do you recommend? I don't think you have like test sites, do you?
No. It's
you
like,
what you're doing is you may have test accounts, another account you've opened that you use drop shipping inside that to test, right?
Yeah. So we've got an account that's just purely drop shipping products. They're not, I don't know what's in there now. It's over 20,000 UPCs.
Rashid is asking, how do you diversify on an account?
How you diversify an account? Okay, well let's say you are in like an extreme sport sort of area. You're selling kite surfs and windsurfing, maybe water sports sort of thing. So you're selling all these sort of water sport, extreme sport things, but you've got overlap into different categories. People that do extreme sports have to keep fit. So they're interested in nutrition, they're interested in supplements, they're interested in safety, so first aid kits, all that kind of stuff. So you're kind of in different areas. They're also apparel, so sports apparel, sunglasses, that kind of thing. So you're diversifying across different categories within the one account, if that makes sense. But that's why I always focus on one sort of niche and try and spread it out.
Here's a compliment. Martin says, your patience and energy is incredible. All right. Ted says, Ted says, I know Julian has a partner. What's his view on getting a partner to grow and scale your business versus going it alone? Does he have any advice on pros and cons of either way?
Well, I'm not a relationship counselor, but my partner's my girlfriend, so let's just leave it at that. In terms of,
I'm going to spend $12,000 on some lotions and potions. You just suck it up and say, "Okay, baby." You keep her happy, right?
We've had situations where, can I tell one quick story?
Sure.
Where in the early days we didn't know how to do coupon codes properly, and we didn't know what could go wrong with them, and we didn't protect our stock back then. I had a free coupon code. It got stuck on some Korean coupon site. And 13,000 orders went out in 24-hour period. I went to bed. I hadn't checked the account and got up late the next day. Looked at the account. That was equated to about $535,000 worth of turnover.
What? Were you able to get? Did you get any of that stuff?
Yeah. I rang South Central. I felt sick. Number one, and I was talking to the South Central person. He said, I've got to transfer you to someone else, and explain the situation. And all the names were Kim Long Soon, and all Korean names. And unfortunately, they just said, "Oh, we'll handle it from here," and they just deleted everything, and that was fine. We had another situation where we had about 2,600 orders go out. And they cancelled about 1,300 of them, but it still cost us about 20 to 25 grand. I think it was 28 grand.
25 grand.
Yep. Yeah, that's the hit we.
For a lot of people in this webinar, it would put them out of business right there. Yeah, I've heard. You're not the only one. I've heard somebody else getting killed by these Korean guys. They're
tons of us, especially.
I guess they must have some. I'm thinking they must have some kind of a spider that crawls Amazon looking for people who's got their coupon not set up right. Be very careful when you're setting up your coupon.
Yeah. Always do. If you're doing free coupons, it's always got to be the exclusive one-time coupon. And I only do that for Vine reviews and top reviews to get my first 15 reviews. So that's how I get my first 15 reviews from my own list. But I also like to get Vine reviews if I can get them. So I'll usually get 5 or 10 of those. Depends on the product too. Just crappy little unsexy things. You don't need to worry too much.
All right. You're answering the question that Susan has, but the second part of her question, do you give products at a discount to get reviews in your first 10 or 15?
Not really. It's I guess when I'm launching a product, I will just say, you can get this discount, but I don't ask for a review for it. I let the follow-up emails do that. We've got a pretty good list now of top reviewers and bind reviewers in different categories, so we know what they'll review on. And my VA that deals with them sort of build up a relationship with them, and even says, what other products would you like to review? And then they'll tell us, and we'll get sort of a bit of an idea from them. So, but if I was starting off, then I'll just do whatever you can to get the first reviews and just get a bit of experience on it. But just be careful if you're going to these review sites. You want to make sure that the people that are putting the reviews up have put good quality reviews and they're still up. They're not getting deleted. And mix it up in terms of, you might go, was it Snapshout? I always forget the name of them, Snagshout. There's a lot of different review sites, but mix it up a little bit because, a lot of them have got some sort of paper, what do they call it? Footprint online now. So you want to make sure that you've got less chance of them getting deleted. And you don't need hundreds and hundreds. Just get the first 10 or 15, set up your email sequence, and then let it happen naturally from there. That's my tip on reviews.
Rob is saying the Chinese and Koreans will clean out rookie sellers right out, and many times the orders cannot be canceled. They do. He says they do have spiders and
they're very sophisticated. That was
Patty
a lot of orders.
Yeah. How did you build your community?
Okay, through inserts, through the Kindle book, and through promoting the Kindle book and other lead magnets using Facebook ads to opt-in pages and through our website as well. So there's multiple ways through our blog post. We build up a VIP review list for, about 250 on that. So I use that, but I've used that less and less now. I do other things for them rather than saying, here's a new product, buy it for nothing and review. Originally, that was the plan. But what I do now what I have for the reviewers is I'm not calling it, I call it a club membership now. It's not a review club. It's, they get a lifetime, 15% discount and other things that I'll, contests and things like that we'll do for them. Depends on what they want.
And you do this money, just sending this out through your own email software?
Yeah. Use Get Response.
How often do you send out to your list?
Well, once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I'm not sending a lot of things out.
Okay. Lynn says, one of the things I do is search the main, this is about keywords, search the main keyword in Google Keyword Planner, and then compare the number of monthly searches to the total results in Amazon. I like to see more monthly searches per Google than product offerings, more demand than supply. Does Julian do research that he can share?
Let me just, I can't read it. Oh, you go. Search the main keyword. So you're talking about the number of listings that have got that keyword searches?
I'm assuming. Lynn, if you're there, maybe you can clarify what you're meaning there. Basically, she just says, if there's way more Google searches than there are even listings on Amazon, then that has to mean maybe that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, because one listing on Amazon could be selling 10,000 units a month.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, some of the top sellers and just doing some work on that. I've never sort of looked at it that way, but I get what Lynn's saying. You got to test it, when it comes to the competition, it's like you put in your main keyword or the top 10 keywords, and you have a look at what the listings look like. What the image is like, what are the titles like, do they look like they've done some sort of course? And more often than not, that's what it looks like these days. And if there's thousands and thousands of cells in there, it's going to be harder to rank for it. You might have to go for a different type of keyword though. So even though it's a very competitive marketplace, you might just have to compete for different keywords. I stay away from that kind of thing. I want to find something that's just in a pocket, and I find them quite regularly from the process I was explaining before when I drill down into the different pathways, the subcategories, and find just things that jump out. It takes time, and this is what is so hard for a lot of people, is they don't have half a day to do that.
So,
I mean,
have you ever?
I can spend. Sorry.
I was going to say, go ahead and finish your thought.
I was going to say that when I sit down and go through that process, I can come up with 100 products in one day that meet a pretty good criteria, and that I can then test on Shopify and look for in the distributors and just do my comparisons, and it just becomes a bit of common sense at the end of the day.
So, out of 100 that you find in that day, how many would you actually wind up putting hands on and actually testing?
All of them.
What?
I'll do all of them. I've got 4 people that help me do it.
Holy cow.
So there's me, there's Jules, there's Donna, and we've got a V8. So between the 4 of us, we can do 20 pretty quick. So you all you're doing really is you're taking you use something like Snagit or whatever you use to get the image, right? So you might be some of these products might be on eBay, they might be on Amazon or whatever, but you find where you're getting the product from. You're taking the image, you're popping it on Shopify or WooCommerce or whatever it might be.
So you're actually using their image from Snagit.
Well, you Snagit to get the image off the AliExpress site or whatever it might be. I've got a really good graphic guy who can take out any watermarks or anything like that. He's brilliant, and he's $3 an hour. So he's in Sri Lanka. He's brilliant. He's better than guys that was paying $50 an hour. So he's my full-time graphics guy. So he works on all the images. So we just get different images and we make them so they're no copyright issue. We put them up onto the product page. We work out the title, the descriptions, the layout, or whatever it is. More often than not, I'll buy one of the products myself, doing a video of the product to put on the product page as well. You'll have various apps that you're going to use or plugins that you're going to use to sort of optimize things for SEO and whatever it might be. And then it's just a case of running a competition and traffic from Facebook. So, but again, Facebook, you need to really know your market when you use Facebook because you've got to drill down into the insights.
You're going back to your same niche market over and over to test with. If this is the fishing category, you're not going to a brand that you've already sold stuff in the fishing market. So you're going back and saying, oh, here's another new product I want you to test out. Here, guys.
Yeah, so a lot of these Shopify courses that are out right now talk about free plus shipping. You get some product you can find for $2 or $3 and you say it's free plus shipping of $9.99. And then you build up your list that way. Another way of doing it is saying, hey, it's $9.99 and shipping's free. And after a while, when you've got your list going, you're just putting up a picture of maybe 3 products in a carousel image. You boost the post to your list and people that are interested in similar things, and you say, "Would you buy this product?" And they'll go yes or no or whatever, and you see which, would you buy 1, 2, or 3? And some people say, "I'd buy 1, 2, and 3." Some people say, "I'll buy 1. I hate 3." Whatever. But
how does that find? Is that even real? Because I've always heard that if you really want to test your product, is go ahead and have them buy it because they'll tell you that they will buy it. But if you say, okay, well, put your money on the table, they don't buy it, and then is that valid?
Yeah, I think it can definitely work, and sometimes it probably doesn't work. But this is the thing: the biggest skill you're going to have, other than building a list, is testing. Like every category is different, every product's different, every Amazon PPC campaign you put up behaves differently. It's so random on Amazon. Facebook's a little bit more predictable. But at the end of the day, the number one goal is just to get as many people who are aligned with you and what you're thinking about within your particular market. So, if you're really keen on cooking Italian food, it's like, you're going to attract people that like making ravioli, for example, or pasta or whatever it might be. So you're building a relationship with these people.
So have you ever gone on your Facebook group and say, hey guys, I need your help. I've got 3 products here. I'm only going to sell 1 of them. Which one would you buy? And then if whichever gets the most, I'm going to offer you guys I'm going to do a group buy, like you're just buying it just for them. And then I'll get you a discount on it. And it normally sells for this, but I think I can get it for this.
No, I've never done it that way, but try it. Yeah, see if it works. But I've never done it quite that way.
Okay. Kent says,
but I find.
Go ahead.
How many words? Pages?
No, go ahead. I was saying, how many words or pages you put in your Kindle book? Kindle.
20. It depends on the market, but average of 20, you know.
Okay.
And lots of offers and lots of, just all the offers for Amazon Associate ID.
Ken, do you sell any brand name products?
Only the drop shipping ones are.
Okay, and anybody who wants to know, that's really retail arbitrage when you're selling brand name products. You're buying a brand name product at a low price at, say, Target clearance, and you're selling it on Amazon at a higher price. That's really what retail arbitrage is all about, is selling existing brands. Peter, do you sell on Amazon UK? Curious on what platforms you've tried outside of Amazon.com.
Okay, now I'm in Australia, and Robert and Stephen from Master Superheroes have sort of warned me about selling either through an LLC or an Australian company or a non-UK company. So I've actually set up joint venture arrangements with 2 other sellers to build accounts over there, because I'm too nervous about setting it up without actually going over there and having a bank account in the same name as the UK company name, because it's a can of worms in terms of VAT tax throughout Europe, not just UK. So because of the nexus in the UK or something like that. I don't understand it exactly, but I know tons of people now that are starting to have problems, because as soon as you sell your first product in the UK, 30 days later, you've got to start reporting to the Inland Revenue, which is the IRS. So you got to start paying your tax. You got to pay accountants to help you and all that kind of thing. And you don't get the tax threshold, which I think is about £81,000 a year, before you actually have to start reporting and paying the VAT. So, for people that are not big sellers going into the UK, that's a big problem. And I'm not prepared to sort of risk that. And I'm quite happy with these other 2 guys that I've got these accounts with, where, I'm basically helping them do the marketing. They're paying for the inventory, and we're just taking a split on the gross. So it's working out really well. So I'm not in any major rush to go in the UK.
So you're saying that unless you show up and they have to do their customer background stuff, you have to have, and it's hard to get a bank account. I doubt that you could just fly in there and stay a week and get an account open. I moved to the UK. Well, you may be able to do it because you're a UK citizen, but I moved to the UK. I moved to the UK, and even though my wife had citizenship there, she has dual citizenship because her parents are from the UK, and she had an aunt that lived there and some other stuff. We stayed with her aunt. Her aunt really literally had to take me to her bank and kind of vouch for me before they'd open up an account for us. It was involved.
Yeah, it's not as straightforward as it sounds. And if you go the lazy way and just do it anyway, then you just got to understand what the ramifications are. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just, you probably want to do that when you really have a lot more experience, and you know that you're going to be making consistent cash flow pretty quickly. Because it takes time and effort to launch into another country, and they do behave differently. So I wouldn't get too obsessed with getting into the UK EU market if you haven't quite sort of got a handle on your own backyard first. If you already live in the UK, go for it. That's where you should start, probably.
Okay. Let's see. Courtney says, a question about private label books. Do you edit the content when you get it? She might be talking about PLR books.
Yeah,
Are
PLR, yeah.
Are there several of the same book with different titles floating around?
You have to change it. You can't have it the same, and you want to make it look and feel and sound a bit different. And like I said to you before, the best writers you're going to find are in Kenya. They've got really good English usually. You'll pay anywhere from $5 to $10 an hour for them, or maybe to get a book done, $100 is probably what you pay. Depends on how long it is, but really think it through. Make sure the book's good. It's got to have it's got to be good quality. It can't be the same as the PLR book. Definitely rewrite it, give it a bit of personality, make it interesting. So again, if you're in a niche that you understand, it's a lot easier. You just have to do a bit more work up front if you're not very familiar with that niche. But you should be able to find a writer that's had some sort of experience in the area you're talking about, and But gather all the information that you want to put in the book and all the links for the products for Amazon Associate ID links. Do your homework. The more preparation you do up front, the easier it's going to be for them to write it, or you might just do it yourself. I mean, some people just like writing. So if you like writing, do it. I love writing, so I kind of like writing stuff.
So Courtney's saying even special books like cookbooks.
Oh, you can do cookbooks, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Faisal says, what are the important features when building your website? Aesthetics, layout, information, etc. I guess you need the SEO too.
Yeah, SEO for long term. You know what? You can keep it really simple. Like Shopify and WooCommerce, they have very simple themes that are for free. Just use the free ones. You can get apps that you got to test stuff. There's no easy way through this, but what you must have is your privacy policy, your return refund policy, disclaimers. You go to WP legal pages, I think it's called. But just do a search for legal pages in Google and what you have to include for like Google and Facebook. And they always want to see the privacy policy, disclaimers, and your terms of service, that kind of thing. So really important that you have that. In terms of aesthetics, well, I think the better images you have, always the better. It's always a good thing. Be blogging each week. Do a blog post each week. Make sure the blog post is more than 1,000 words. Don't do these like SEO optimized 500-word type article stuff. Like, really put some time and effort into creating good blog posts. And if you do more than 2,000 words, even better. What I've been reading has just been saying that the short article type posts, it's not really worth it anymore. People want quality. So always go the quality route for your blogs. You don't need to do that for your Shopify testing sites. It's more for you when you're really building your brand out. And you got more time. You've got other things dealt with first. Who automates the drop shipping? There's a couple of companies, and I keep forgetting the name. It's HubShop. I can put that in a PDF.
Okay.
I'll give you the details. There's a couple of them out there. There's a lot that are not worth using though. There's two, and they do cost a bit of money, but they have live feeds and they automate everything. But it'll cost you a few $100 a month just to start off with.
Rich, how do you go about sourcing in the U.S.? Do you have a way to do that?
Well, it's just the same way. Look, I'll put in a search for US distributors.
Just in Google, or do you go to something like Thomas?
No,
like Thomas.net.
Thomas.net's good, yeah. And then I dig down into the 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th page. I don't want to. Companies like Dober. You don't want to use the slick ones that are. Just going to market you. And they're not going to really give you the quality. You'll find that with the distributors, the best ones have got the ugly websites. They've got no idea about marketing.
Right.
And
they just sell a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And they'll supply you with an inventory listing. So you can basically take that inventory listing and they'll have a bunch of UPC codes on it. And you can just tidy it up. You can get a developer to get a scraper to get all the information that you want from the UPC code from Amazon. That's getting a little bit, more advanced. But you don't have to go down that path. You can just find, a couple of distributors first for private labeling if you want, and just get your experience up. But on Shopify, if you do a search in the app, like Shopify apps, for drop shipping companies, you'll be able to find them that way as well. But they're linked to Shopify, so that's another pretty good way of doing it. So there's multiple ways of going about it. But if you start searching for drop shipping and people that are experienced at it, you'll find them and you'll get to learn it. But just take it slow. Everyone's in a rush, Sorry?
I live in Tennessee state, and so what I did is I put in state of Tennessee, manufacturing companies and actually found a couple of databases with local companies, and I would go to their website and see what kind of products they have. And if it was something like, oh, I might be able to sell that, I would think, man, if I could get somebody local that I could drive their factory and we could have a relationship and they could give me, pricing, and I could I could sell it on Amazon. I mean, I didn't really follow through with that, but now I've got a lot more knowledge now that I can go back and probably evaluate better about potential products.
Yeah, yeah. And then as you're doing this, my recommendation is that you start to either record or you write down your process, and then when you've got it down pat, record what you do when you're calling a distributor and how the process that you go, so you can give that to a VA.
So do a Snagit video and do a screenshot of what's going on, and you do a voiceover and say, this is where to go, and automate it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And then you can even like get on Skype and have them. So what I do is I get on Skype with my VA. They call from a different computer or phone or whatever, and I listen to them doing the call. And then when they finish the call, I'll say, okay, well, don't do this next time, or you did that really well, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're coaching them through the process. And once they've done it a few times, they're good to go, and they just do it. So when I started going down this drop shipping path, and started to realize just how many of these distributors are out there with these inventory files, I couldn't believe it. It changed everything because I knew I wanted to test the way I was testing on Shopify, but this just sort of scaled it massively. Because instead of doing 100 products a month, you're doing like 20,000. So it's like you can see very quickly which ones are getting the impressions, the traction, and the sales, and then you can go to your private label side of things and start selling it on Shopify first, see if you get some traction out of it, Amazon, and then private label something on Amazon with a different brand. So there's a few things going on there, but you're able to scale a hell of a lot faster, and you're not spending a lot of money when it comes to the drop shipping side. And in the beginning, though, I think you should just do it the simple way, where you're finding products on eBay, Amazon that are going cheap, and you can sell them for maybe $5 or $10 more on a Shopify site, or at least have a try.
So you're basically doing online arbitrage when you do that. You're buying online and selling online. Gene Paul says, what's a VA, a virtual assistant? Where do you get your virtual assistants generally?
Upwork.com, onlinejobs.ph.
Do you find that you have certain countries that you get better results from different folks, like the Philippines versus somewhere else?
Now, don't hate me for this, but like Philippines is great, but just go with the girls. Don't employ blokes that are Filipino bloke. Man, I've had a nightmare every single time. Okay. The girls are completely different. So for beginners, I would go. Let's say you want someone to answer your buyer messages, and you want to do keyword research or whatever. I'd go to onlinejobs.ph and have a look around for people that can do whatever you're finding is repetitive, and you can record and get them to do it online, whatever there is online. So
what did you call that? Something job what?
It's onlinejobs.ph for Philippines. Okay. Philippines. You can go to Elance, obviously. You can go to Freelancer. You can go to Upwork.com. I've had tons of outsourcers through Upwork, and with varying success, but more often than not, it's good. And you get better and better at vetting them before you employ them. And I think the thing to do is to say what I normally do on Upwork is, let's say they're someone that's going to do some graphics or whatever it might be, and they're $10 an hour. I'll say to them, okay, I'm willing to try it. Like I put in the post that you'll be on a trial at probably 50% off your normal rate for the first week or for this particular task. Most will do it for free, but it depends on the post. If it's something really simple, they'll do it for free. And if it's just like a basic admin type outsourcer, what I'll generally do is get a Word document and say, all I want you to do is to convert this into a PDF. And out of 10, you'll probably find that 4 or 5 won't even bother. 2 or 3 will totally make a mess of it, and then the other 2 or 3 will do a fine job. You'll speak to them on Skype. Their English is good and whatever, and you build up a bit of a relationship with them. and you get them to do simple things and just start to scale it out in terms of what their responsibilities are going to be and what they end up doing, so that you're building that relationship with them. And the Filipino women especially, they really want to make sure that you're happy and that they're doing a good job. The Filipino blokes don't care, and they sometimes just don't show up.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Don't go down that path. Well, you can if you want, but
all right, moving on. Martin says, do you find that the majority of your shipping is via FBA, third party like Shipwire, or your own shipping?
Well, for the FBA products, they're all FBA. When I do the mass drop shipping, that's through the third parties. And when I've got products that I'm selling on Shopify that I'm just doing myself, then that's all going to go through my I've got 2 other fulfillment centers that I use for shipping my own products from Shopify or WooCommerce.
Okay.
So again, I don't just ever use one sort of, I've always got at least 2 areas in each area, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't just have one fulfillment center, I've got 2, just in case something goes wrong or bad.
These are third party fulfillment centers.
Yeah.
Are they close to you physically?
Well, I'm in Australia. They're in Seattle and Denver, so no.
Okay. Well, they're close to. Okay. Martin says, what do you find as a respectable return refund ratio to the number of sales? Like 1 out of 20? Under the assumption that the product is solid, just customers being people.
Yeah. Well, you need it to be as low as possible. So,
what's acceptable? What's acceptable?
Well, acceptable to me or acceptable to Amazon?
No, to you.
To me. To be honest with you, it's not something that I've focused on a hell of a lot because there's never been a massive problem. So okay. I think if you get a refund rate that's, I went 1 in 20, I wouldn't be happy with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's 5%.
Yeah. Whereas in clothing, and this is the other problem with clothing, you can get a lot of returns.
Yeah,
and swaps.
They don't like it. Doesn't look good.
So yeah, with the clothing, it's even more important to get your listings really spot on accurate and really cover all the potential objections and issues you can have, and the follow up is really, really important so that you reduce your refund rate. When you're selling kitchen items, it's so small, it's not funny. I mean, like, you just don't get many sent back. For the cheaper items that are selling between $10 and $25, I just don't see many refunds at all.
Do you do any electronics?
Yeah.
Most people say stay away from them. Ken is saying stay away from them.
Yeah, stay away from electronics. They're evil. No, they're not. They're not evil at all. They're more expensive to buy. You've got to make damn sure that the supplier is going to send the right kind of electrical plug-in to fit the right socket. I've had a few issues with that. But other than that, I've got to say, I sold a lot of kitchen appliances, and they're going fine. I'm not having a lot of trouble with them. Could I in the future? Maybe, but right now, I'm pretty happy.
Okay, Julian wants to know. Dana wants to know: do you use a prep or ship company?
Always.
That's a fulfillment company. Always, because if you lived in the U.S., would you do it differently?
Probably not. Initially, I'd probably do it myself. But once I got up to a level where we're getting some volume through, then I'd get someone else to do it for sure.
Have you ever shipped directly to FBA after you've got a really good consistent fill with a supplier?
I have, but I just prefer to be careful.
Okay.
I much rather have the boxes going into FBA and they look like they're American boxes, not Chinese boxes. Because when the boxes get in there and there's Chinese writing all over them, I'm sure that they look at it differently. I just think, I'd rather get them to my warehouse first, take out anything that's damaged, and just make sure it's all clean, tidy, and we know exactly what numbers going in. It's all been counted up. So when my fulfillment center's looking at the shipment, they're going to take out the anything that's damaged. They're going to do an inventory count, and if it's not what we ordered, it's less than what we ordered, then we can go back to the supplier and say, hang on, you're 1,500 short here, or 10 short, whatever it might be, and there's 10 damaged, and then we can get that sorted out straight away.
Do you get credit for your damaged items from them, from the supplier?
Yeah.
Okay. Lynn wants to know, do your listings look like the kind from everyone who's taken a course? Huge bullets, tons of keywords, and long product description, or do you keep it concise?
No, I for each of the categories there's a style guide that Amazon has published. So
Like for one
go get
category, they may say you can only have 200 characters in the title. Another category may allow 500. Is that right?
Yeah, well, most are sort of 200 at the moment. I did see something today about, I think it was, I forget which category it was. Could have been outdoor patio garden, I think it was. That they've changed it from 100 back to 200 or something like that. So,
Yeah, so they change. You got to keep up with that stuff. Here's a question I have for you, and I'll let you go back to this question. I want to, because it's one I forgot and I just remembered again. Do you use HTML in your listings?
In the product description, I'll use whatever looks best when I look at it on a mobile device.
But you know, HTML is supposed to be banned. You're not supposed to use bullet points or bold or color.
No, I think all that you would use are the paragraph, so you can separate it a bit. I don't think they have any problem with that. It's when you start putting in different colors and
right, or symbols like, you know, asterisks and for bullet points. And
I don't use bold. I just do the line breaks and the bullets.
Okay. Because used to, I guess you could get away with that. And there are still listings out there that have photographs in their descriptions, and they're usually from big ass vendors like Sony. You're like, okay, I know why they get away with it, because they're not going
to. They're vendor central, so that's usually why they're allowed to do that.
Okay. So, any back to Lynn's question, is there anything else that you would comment on that? You just, in other words, does your listings look like ASM listings?
No, I'm not sure they still teach it that way anymore. And you do see anomalies where even, I think I was looking at something yesterday where it was just totally keyword stuffed and it was the bestseller and all that stuff. I'm thinking, well, how do they get away with that? And sooner or later they won't. But I think at the end of the day, if you go back to the style guide and you stick to that as best as you can and you play by the book, you've got a better chance of being retargeted from Amazon in terms of getting the love from them. So I just think you go about it the right way, and be consistent with that and persevere with, the basics. If most of you are newbies, just concentrate on the basics. Get the style guide, get the item type keywords, look at the search pathways down to those subcategories that are in the area that you're selling. See which ones are less competitive. Have a look at the main competitors. Which ones are they in? Stay out of those ones. Go for the keywords that are not the top tier. So if you've got like a rolling pin or something like that, some sort of kitchen product that's like the number one. So it's getting 10,000 listings, and then you've got other keywords that you found in the listings or in merchant words or fresh key or whatever tool you're using that's is less competitive. Then use that in your title. Get ranking for that first, and then you can take that out and put another more competitive one in, maybe a month or two later, and just try different things. And then when you do that, make a note of when you're making the changes. Leave it for a couple of weeks and go back and see how your sales have been in terms of conversion rate. So did your views go up? So say you did that on the 10th of the month, and you look at the 10th of the next month. Was your conversion rate and page views higher than the previous month? That's all you really care about, is how many views you're getting and what the conversion rate is. If the conversion rate's going down, something's not right.
Okay.
So change it back.
Alfonso wants to know, is there an Amazon drop shipping course you know of?
Do a search for one. I mean, I'm kind of like, there's a guy called Todd Snively I've learned a lot about drop shipping from. They are about 190, I think it's $200 a month to be in their group. But you've got to be really careful. Like I think you can get overwhelmed so easily. I'd recommend you do a bit of a search, have a look around for what you can find on YouTube and for free, and do it simple to start off with, rather than trying to get too advanced before your time. If you're comfortable with Excel spreadsheets, you're comfortable with a bit of customization and developers with scraper tools and things like that, and you've got the time to learn it, then yeah, go for your life. I mean, there's a few people out there that are teaching these sorts of things, but you can waste a lot of time. I mean, I spent a lot of time on these courses, and most of them, I don't know. I think you can get, like you said before, you can get most of this information for free on YouTube and actually in Sales Central Forum itself. You don't have to be spending a lot of money. That's just my personal view on it.
Okay. It looks like we're down there. That was our last question. Nestor asked us kind of, I guess it was a rhetorical question. You must have made a comment about going to college, and he said, "What if we didn't go to college?" LOL. So I don't know what that was about. Do you remember your comment about that?
Yeah, I was saying treat this like a master's degree.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, like, take it slow. Like,
Gotcha.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. And just be careful who you
Right.
giving your money to.
Guys, we're down. We have no more questions unless somebody asks another question. Which fulfillment company do you use? What is Catherine asking? Do you know anything?
Okay. My recommendation with anything like fulfillment houses and suppliers and distributors and all the rest of it is to go find ones that you want to deal with rather than using ones recommended by a company or someone like myself or whatever. Like, I definitely have a couple that I use. One's in Connecticut, one's in Washington State. I found them myself after talking to various different ones, and I just went with the ones that I felt were going to be good for me. And I think that, sure, I can put a PDF together and put links to things that we've been talking about today. If you want, I can do that. And, I'll have a podcast coming out soon that'll talk about these sorts of things too. And I'm happy to come back and do more specific things with Jake as well. So, there's various ways we can go about this, but my recommendation, or if it's one thing I leave you all with, it's like, learn how to be, unique and test and be street smart. It's very easy just to sort of follow these gurus and go down these rabbit holes and spend a lot of money and a lot of time and just spin your wheels and not get anywhere with it. And there's no easy answer to this. And the name of the podcast is Ecompreneur. And I'm calling the audience the 15K Club. And basically, it's just dedicated to getting people to 15K a month net profit as soon as possible. And then you can just rinse and repeat and build a real brand and a real business. And it's not a pitch podcast at all. I'm not going to be funnelizing you to death with lots of affiliate programs and stuff like that. It's got nothing to do with that. It's really, I find I learn a lot more when I do things like this with Jake and coach people and whatever it might be that's giving back to people. And it's I used to think that sounded really cheesy, but it's so true. If you get good at this and get better and you start teaching people, the best way to learn is to teach someone. You realize what you're not doing and what you could be better at, and you just improve so much more from teaching people.
You want to answer that question from Dick?
Down the bottom. I get very lonely when you go muted. How you driving traffic to your Shopify site and what kind of conversions do you get? Right. Well, Facebook and Pinterest mainly. We just started Pinterest. Conversions vary greatly depending on the niche and whatever it is. And when you say conversions, I presume you're talking about when someone gets to the product page and converts. Some can convert at like 1 to 5%. Some can convert at like 30%. I've got some conversion rates like on Amazon. It varies. It's unbelievable. We've got one of our clothing products converts at 47% session. It's like ridiculous. And then a very, very similar product, same size, is like 3%. It's like ridiculous. I mean, how do you work that one out? So, they do vary greatly. And maybe it's got to do with the traffic within Amazon for that. But, I find that the average for it's probably a list that's been evolved over time is probably about 30%. So 25, 30% is probably what I like to see. Do you want me to answer that? Do you have problems with competitors mass downvoting your
Yes,
5-star reviews?
please,
Yeah,
please do.
man, you have no idea the trouble that we had, and this is why I'm not keen on having a product that gets up in the top page, up in lights, where all the people watching different categories find your product and then go after it and copy you and then do things like downvoting good reviews and putting bad reviews on your site. And one of our products got sent a lot of spam traffic, still does. I mean, we got hammered, and it's the biggest downfall, I think, or biggest downside of Amazon is that.
How do you getting spam traffic? Are you saying they're driving traffic so you get poor conversions?
Yeah, there's a tool called GSA, and anyone who's done any SEO will know what I'm talking about. And you can absolutely wreck a website or a money page with just sending, you're selling a wrinkle cream and you send traffic that's looking for, lawn feed, blood and bone. So they're not going to be interested in it, or some sort of men's tool for his car, and some idiots out there think it's funny or think it's a good practice to go out and do that. Just no. So, we got absolutely hammered. Our conversion rates went from 24% down to less than 1% in like 2 weeks. And I was at Amazon for, when I say at them, I was calling them for months, and I gave up in the end. They just didn't help. And it was so obvious, so that's the other thing. Amazon can be such a pain in the neck to deal with. And you've got to be, expecting that if your product does really well, sometimes I think it's probably not a good thing. Well, I'm really enjoying this Quite Achiever account. If I do any specific course first, it's going to be this Quite Achiever process, because you don't have the time and the money to do all these courses and try learning all these skills like Facebook, Pinterest and Instagram and Google ads and blah 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 blah. I mean, your head just goes and caves in. And if you just have like a day-by-day thing that you can do for 90 days to build up your account to at least say 5K, you'll learn the skills, and you'll have 3 months experience under your belt of doing the basics well, and throwing a bit of drop shipping, throwing a bit of retail arbitrage, build up your cash flow, and then go to the next level. And that's why I said, it's like treat it like a degree. It's a 3 to 5 year process for most people. You don't want it to be a fluke and just a hit and miss sort of thing. You want to have a real business that's solid, got all its systems and processes in place. You know what sort of products you're going to bring into the mix and how to test them before you get a private label, and just keep on increasing your profit. And that to me just makes perfect sense. You can go to ecompreneur.com to opt in. It'll be a few weeks, but I've got an opt-in page there. And I'll send out a couple of emails in the next couple of weeks, because it's all been delayed. My father died about 6 weeks ago. So I'm actually in this house. So I had 3 weeks nursing him here with my mother, and then and just the fallout of dealing with grieving for your dad that's died. So everything's been delayed. But that's one of the positives about this business. I was able to make sure that Dad got out of hospital and died in peace at home around familiar surroundings. He wasn't stuck in the palliative care. So, it's one thing to be very grateful for.
Well, I guess having a business where you can take the time off instead of having to leave a job gives you the opportunity to serve your family. And really, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for freedom. That's why I'm doing this business. That's probably why you're doing this business, is to have control of your own, your own destiny. You don't have somebody else with their thumb, on or the foot on their neck. You can do that. So yeah, and you're a trooper for coming on with losing your dad that soon. But I appreciate you doing that. Do you have any last parting words? The only thing I see, Catherine had to ask the question, what fulfillment company in the U.S. do you use? I think she wants to use it too.
Well, look, like I said to you before, like I strongly suggest you go out and look for ones yourself that are not affiliated with any course, because if you do that, you run the risk of them stealing your products that go well, and I know it happens. I'm extremely cynical about most of these gurus out there selling courses now, because I've just seen too many weird and unsavory things going on. So protect yourself at all costs. There are people you can trust. There are some good people out there, and I'm happy to put, like I said to you, I'll put a PDF together going over some of the things that we've talked about today, and maybe some sort of process that you can go through that at least will get you started to think the right way. In my opinion, you've got to be thinking, what's a real business? What do I need to build to develop this real business that's going to sell for whatever amount it is that I want to an investor in 5 or 6 years' time, or even 3 years' time? Why are you doing this? Are you just trying to make a bit of money, or are you really trying to build a real business? And if it's a real business, that's a completely different kettle of fish to just whacking up a couple of kitchen products and
Okay, I've tried 2 in a row here, and keep getting them wrong. What is the Ecompreneur URL? Can you just paste it in there?
I did edit it, but I'll just bring it up so make sure I spell it right. I've probably chosen the completely wrong name because people don't know how to spell entrepreneur. So it's econ with preneur on it. So it's ECOMPRENEUR.com.
Well, I tried that one too. I had that one down here.
Yeah, that's all right. It's working. So I thought maybe for a second.
So just cut and paste it into the chat room there.
Yeah. And like I said, I want to make sure that it's short, snappy, and got things that are going to be useful for you. So if you've got any ideas and things that you want me to focus on, then I'll design it around what the listeners want to get out of it, really. So I think what I'm going to do is probably have a guest once a week, and then have a chill out session on a Saturday. It's like just talking about what's going on and what's working and what's not working, and just keep it very relaxed. Not pitching stuff. I don't want to be sitting there, just pitching stuff.
Cool, brother. We're probably going to call it. I mean, we've been in here for 3 hours. 2.5, half of it wasn't, but this is probably like getting close to the longest one I've done. They're usually around 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But brother,
I can keep going. It's only 4:30 in the afternoon here. I can grab a beer and keep going.
Yeah. So you knocked it out of the park. You gave solid information, and I will want to come back and.
I hope so.
I'll talk to you after the thing. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Kindle book idea, because I think that is a definite mini course that people could benefit from and would want to learn how to do that. And then we can talk more about what
Jake. I think there's lots of little sort of simple things that people can do that can make a difference, rather than trying to think about the big picture.
Right.
It's like little things that can make a difference. And I know SEO's frowned upon by a lot of people, but there's definitely specific things within SEO that can be done well in terms of building your list and that kind of thing. And things are changing all the time, and I just want to find things that are simple to implement and can have some sort of positive impact quickly.
I mean, check this out. Courtney says this is the best 2 hours of her life. Courtney, you
need to get out.
That's right. I'm gonna say if we're the best 2 hours of your life, I feel sorry for you. Maybe it's in business, but yeah. Dana,
friend me on Facebook. I'm just gonna say friend me on Facebook. Just look me up on Facebook and say hi.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here, guys. I will take your advice and edit this and put it in the replay. I don't know if I can get that done tonight, so a few people will get the replay, and the first 30 minutes will be there. The way the replay works, it's an exact replica, so it actually has just put in his name, Courtney, put in Julian Thornton. And by the way, I misspelled it. We misspelled it I misspelled it. I had to go back to 36 Facebook groups and edit my listing invite. I couldn't do it I'd already done my crappy graphic, and and once you do the crappy graphic and upload it to Webinar Jam, it won't let you change it. So anyway, it's not Thornton, it's Thornton. You got a silent N in there.
Thorn as in bro, yeah.
But anyway, I will take you guys' advice and cut off that first 30 minutes. So, but until then, you'll probably get the whole thing. If you're watching the exact replica, which gives you the chat roll as it happened, the only problem with that is it's pretty cool to watch it that way. But if your browser crashes or you stop it or close it out, you can't. It's not like you can open it back up and fast forward to where you dropped off. You have to start at the beginning. So if that's frustrating to you, you get caught with that, just hover down in the bottom right-hand corner and where it says YouTube pops up, click on it. It'll take you to the YouTube version, which at that point you can navigate backwards and forwards. But I will be putting that out there. And if you're going to do something like a PDF with Q&A or whatever, you've got some things you want to put together for us, I'll be glad to send it out to my email list. Of course, we don't usually get out of 3,000 that's on the list. There's usually 100, 150 that show up live, and then there's another 200 or 300 that usually watch it on the replay. I don't know where the rest of those 3,000 people go, and I don't know what kind of turnover there is, but there's always about the same number every week, but it's not always the same people. So anyway, Julian, you got any parting words before we click it off here?
I was just thinking, it's just saying that, anyone who's listening to this, just send questions into Jake, and I'm happy to put together something like a
if you guys email me,
summarize things we've been talking about, and put an FAQ together and
sure,
and what have you. But I think really the parting message is build a real business, build a community you're aligned to, that you can be of service to, and have a rewarding business that's fulfilling you, rather than just selling any old rubbish. Now, yes, you can do all the drop shipping and all the other things to find those products within your niche that can sell, because it's important. But we can tell you now, when you start focusing on an area that you're actually interested in, everything changes. You find the opportunities and the threats and the strengths and the weaknesses, and everything just starts to come together, and take your time. You can cause a lot of damage by trying to rush.
Exactly.
So just slow down a little bit and you'll be fine.
I don't think this will be the last time you'll see Julian somewhere in my universe. So Julian, I appreciate you coming out, brother. I appreciate your thoughtful and great feedback, good information. Appreciate you being a good sport about it. And
it's a pleasure.
All right, guys. With that, that's
Happy
it.
New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year, and hey, we definitely appreciate it. Don't hang up, Julian. I'm going to click off, but hey, thanks everybody for being a part of our community. You guys make it what it is. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. It'd just be me and Julian talking to each other, and we can do that without doing a webinar. So thanks so much. See you guys on an upcoming episode. Cheers.
Okay, John. Bye.